Imagine Naruto, but he doesn't give a fuck about being Hokage, doesn't cry about friendship, and treats everyone like peasants because technically he's a reincarnated noble with god-tier powers. Yeah, we're making the dead last into the most disrespectful OP character you've ever seen. Kakashi getting violated in Chapter 1. Let's go.
The blade fell, not from above, not in some dramatic arc meant to cleave flesh and bone. It simply dropped from Naruto Uzumaki's hand, the katana's tip kissing the dirt of Training Ground 7 with barely a whisper. The morning sun caught the steel, reflected nothing, and Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja, the man who'd seen 1,000 battles, felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Dread. What are you doing? Kakashi asked, his visible eye narrowing behind his headband. The bell test had barely begun. Sasuke Uchiha stood to the left, Sharingan already spinning. Sakura Haruno crouched behind a tree, kunai trembling in her grip. And Naruto stood perfectly still, the black kimono-style outfit he wore, high-collared, elegant, completely devoid of that ridiculous orange jumpsuit the Academy records mentioned, didn't rustle in the breeze. The white scarf draped over his shoulders, the Genpaku Kazahana no Chiru worth 10 mansions, hung motionless. His eyes, those impossibly cold blue eyes, remained fixed on the dropped blade. "I am demonstrating the difference between us," Naruto said, his voice carrying none of the enthusiasm or energy Kakashi had been briefed to expect. This was the voice of someone accustomed to being obeyed. The difference in class. The sword sank into the ground, through the ground. The earth rippled like water disturbed by a stone, and Kakashi's hand shot to his own blade on instinct. Something was wrong. This wasn't normal. This wasn't. 2 rows of enormous blades erupted from the dirt behind Naruto, each one the size of a building, stretching toward the sky like the teeth of some colossal beast. The training ground trembled. Birds exploded from nearby trees in panicked flight. And Naruto's lips moved, forming words that shouldn't exist in this world. Bankai. The giant blades shattered. Not broke, not cracked. They dissolved into hundreds of millions of cherry blossom petals, pink and beautiful and absolutely everywhere. The air itself became solid with them, a tsunami of flower petals that moved with purpose, with killing intent, swirling around Naruto in a vortex that made the training ground look like some fever dream of spring. Kakashi's Sharingan spun to life beneath his headband, both eyes now tracking the movement. And what he saw made his blood freeze. Each petal was a blade, microscopic, molecular, thousands upon thousands per second passing through the air, and any single one could cut through steel. The collective whole could erase mountains. "What is this?" Sasuke shouted, and to his credit, he didn't run. The Uchiha heir pulled out shuriken, flung them toward Naruto's position. The petals intercepted them mid-flight. The shuriken didn't just deflect, they disintegrated, reduced to metal dust that scattered in the pink storm. Naruto raised one hand, a casual gesture, barely more than a thought. The ocean of petals responded like extensions of his will, flowing around him in patterns too complex to follow, too fast to escape. "Scatter," Naruto said simply. "Senbonzakura." The petals swept forward. Kakashi tried to substitute to body flicker away, but the petals were faster than thought. They cut through his vest before he finished the hand sign. Thin red lines appeared on his arms, his legs, shallow cuts that could have been deep if Naruto had willed it. The message was clear. "You're already dead if I want you to be." Sasuke tried to dodge, but the petals boxed him in, created walls of cutting death that forced him to his knees. Sakura didn't even attempt to fight. She pressed herself against a tree trunk, eyes wide, watching pink death dance through the air. And Naruto stood at the center of it all, expression unchanged, unmoved, unimpressed. "The bell test," Naruto said, his tone suggesting mild disappointment, "is concluded." He appeared behind Kakashi, not ran, not jumped. Simply existed in a different location than he had a microsecond before, and Kakashi's mind screamed impossible, because even the body flicker technique left traces, left chakra signatures, left something to track. This was different. This was Shunpo, flash step, a movement technique from another world's spiritual arts. Naruto's hand extended almost lazily, and the 2 bells tied to Kakashi's belt came free. No struggle, no resistance, just taken, because Naruto decided to take them. You arrived 43 minutes late, Naruto said, stepping back, the petals still swirling but slower now, less aggressive. For someone who claims to value his students, this speaks poorly of your character. Tardiness is unbecoming of a jonin. Kakashi's hand went to his belt, felt the absence of the bells, and something like genuine alarm flickered across his features. This wasn't how the test was supposed to go. Jonin couldn't just take the bells. They were supposed to work together, to demonstrate teamwork, to struggle and fail and learn. Naruto had demonstrated that the test was beneath him. How did you? Kakashi started, then stopped. The question felt pointless. He just watched it happen and still couldn't comprehend how. You move as though you have all the time in the world, Naruto continued, and now he walked past Kakashi, not the petals parting around him like a royal guard clearing a path. Perhaps you do, with your reputation and your Sharingan, but reputation means nothing to me. Power does, law does, order does. He stopped in front of Sasuke, who was still kneeling, still trapped by walls of pink blades hovering millimeters from his skin. Stand, Naruto commanded. Sasuke stood, though rage twisted his features. The last Uchiha didn't enjoy being dominated. You have potential, Naruto observed, clinical, detached. The Sharingan is a noble bloodline, but you lack discipline, you lack refinement, you are a blade that has never been properly sharpened. I don't need advice from... The petals closed in a fraction of an inch, not touching Sasuke's skin, but close enough that he could feel the wind from their passage, close enough that one wrong move would open 100 cuts. Sasuke went silent. Yes, Naruto said. The petals dispersed. Not slowly, not with any gradual fade, but instantly, vanishing as though they'd never existed. The giant blade rose behind Naruto, dissolved like morning mist. His katana reappeared in his hand, manifested from nothing, and he sheathed it in one smooth motion. Kakashi found his voice. What exactly are you? Naruto turned, and for the first time, something that might have been amusement flickered in those cold eyes. I am Naruto Uzumaki, he said. I am also Byakuya Kuchiki, 28th head of the Kuchiki clan, 6th division captain of the Gotei 13. I am the reincarnation of a soul reaper, and I possess every memory, every technique, every power of my previous existence. The silence that followed was absolute. Sakura broke it, her voice small. That's not possible. Clearly, Naruto replied, it is. Kakashi's mind raced. Reincarnation existed. The entire concept of the Sage of Six Paths proved that. But this wasn't some vague inherited will or genetic memory. This was a complete transference of identity, skills that shouldn't exist in this world, powers that operated on entirely different principles than chakra. The bells, Kakashi said, grasping for some sense of normalcy. You took them. Technically, you pass. Technically, Naruto echoed, and the word dripped with disdain. I did not take them for myself. I took them because the exercise was pointless. You wish to teach us teamwork. A noble goal, I suppose, for common shinobi who must rely on others. He tossed one bell to Sasuke, who caught it on reflex. The other went to Sakura, who fumbled it but managed to secure it against her chest. They will need such lessons, Naruto continued. I do not. I am sufficient unto myself. Kakashi should have argued, should have launched into the speech about how no shinobi survives alone, about how even the strongest need support, about how pride comes before the fall. The words died in his throat because Naruto had just proven every word of that speech wrong. He had been sufficient. Completely, utterly, overwhelmingly sufficient. Team 7, Kakashi said instead, accepting the reality before him, meets tomorrow at 0700 for mission assignments. I will be there at the assigned time, Naruto said, and the implication hung heavy. Unlike you. He turned and walked away, the white scarf trailing behind him like a banner of nobility, and Kakashi watched him go with the growing certainty that he just inherited something far more dangerous than a team of genin. He'd inherited a living weapon. 3 days later, they stood on a bridge in the land of waves, and Zabuza Momochi was laughing. The demon of the hidden mist, Naruto observed, watching the legendary missing nun emerge from the fog bank rolling across the water. Your reputation precedes you. Zabuza's laughter cut off. His executioner's blade rested on his shoulder, massive and intimidating, and his bandaged face twisted into something approximating a grin. And who the hell are you supposed to be, kid? The fancy dress-up boy? Team 7 had been assigned a C-rank mission. Escort Tazuna, the bridge builder, to the land of waves. Standard work. Boring work. Except C-rank missions didn't typically involve A-rank missing Nin attempting assassination. Kakashi had moved to engage when Zabuza appeared, but Naruto had simply raised one hand, a gesture that commanded stop without words. "I will handle this," Naruto had said, and Kakashi, despite every instinct screaming to intervene, had stepped back because he'd seen what Naruto could do, because he suspected arguing would be pointless. "I am nobility," Naruto replied now, his tone suggesting Zabuza's question was beneath contempt. "You are a deserter, a missing nin, a man without honor who abandoned his village and his duty. We are not equivalent." Zabuza's visible eye narrowed. Big words from a genin. "Observe," Naruto said, and raised his right hand, index finger extended towards Zabuza. "Bakudo number 61, Rikujokoro." The words meant nothing to Zabuza. The words meant nothing to Kakashi or Sasuke or Sakura, watching from the shore. The words weren't Japanese, weren't any language spoken in the elemental nations. The result, however, needed no translation. 6 beams of light materialized around Zabuza, appearing from nowhere, solid and golden and blazing bright enough to leave after images. They slammed into his torso, 2 at his sides, 2 at his chest, 2 at his back, and pinned him in place mid-step. The executioner's blade fell from suddenly nerveless fingers, crashing to the bridge with a clang that echoed across the water. Zabuza tried to move, couldn't. Tried to form hand signs, couldn't. The rods of light bound him completely, held him suspended like an insect in amber, and his visible eye went wide with something that might have been panic. What is this?" He snarled, chakra surging as he attempted to break free. The rods didn't budge. "Kido," Naruto explained, walking forward with measured steps, each footfall perfectly placed. "Demon arts, binding spells used by soul reapers to restrain enemies. They do not operate on chakra principles. Struggling is pointless. You lack the spiritual pressure to break free." This isn't possible." Zabuza's voice climbed, rage and disbelief mixing. "No technique can just—" "Your mistake," Naruto interrupted, stopping 3 feet from Zabuza's frozen form, "was assuming I operate within the limitations of your understanding. You see a genin and think weak. You see nobility and think soft. You see someone younger than yourself and think inexperienced." He drew his katana, the blade singing free of its scabbard with a sound like crystal bells. "You are wrong on all counts." "Hidden miss technique," Zabuza shouted, and the fog bank thickened, rolled across the bridge, turned the world into gray soup where visibility dropped to nothing. Naruto didn't move, didn't even bother dispersing the mist. "You attempt to blind me?" he asked, and amusement colored his words. "You try to blind a noble?" He couldn't see Zabuza anymore. None of them could. The mist was absolute, legendary, the technique that had made Zabuza infamous. Silent killing, the art of murdering opponents who couldn't see, couldn't defend, could only die confused in the gray. 8 points. Zabuza's voice whispered from everywhere and nowhere, the classic intimidation technique. Larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, collarbone, kidney, heart. Which will it be? Silence answered him. The bridge creaked, water lapped at the supports below. And then, "You are slow." Naruto stood behind Zabuza, who was still bound by the golden rods, and the missing nine's eye went wide with terror, because Naruto had moved through the mist like it didn't exist, had crossed the distance in the space between heartbeats. "Your mist technique relies on removing the opponent's sight," Naruto explained, his tone suggesting he was educating a particularly dim student. "But I do not need eyes to perceive you. Your spiritual pressure, your killing intent, your very existence leaves traces that sight cannot capture." He raised his free hand, placed it almost gently on Zabuza's shoulder. "Hado number 33, Naruto said. "Sokatsui." Blue fire erupted from his palm, not normal fire, not any fire that should exist. This was spiritual flame, the destructive arts of the soul reapers, and it consumed the mist, burned through it like tissue paper, expanding in a massive wave that illuminated the bridge in azure light. Zabuza screamed. The Kido released him, intentionally, and he fell forward, stumbling, steam rising from his clothes and skin. Not killed, but hurt, burned badly enough that his movements were sluggish, pained. The mist dispersed entirely, blown away by the sheer force of the spiritual energy release, and Team 7 stood gaping at what they just witnessed. "Impossible," Kakashi breathed. That wasn't chakra. That wasn't any technique I've ever. Because it is not of this world, Naruto said, and he stood calmly as Zabuza struggled to his feet, as the missing nine clutched his burned side and glared with pure hatred. What are you? Zabuza demanded, and the question held genuine fear now, not bravado, not confidence. I told you, Naruto replied. I am nobility, you are not. He raised his katana, held it horizontal before him, and spoke the release command. Scatter, Senbonzakura. The blade dissolved. One moment solid steel, the next moment 1,000 cherry blossom petals, pink and delicate and beautiful. They drifted around Naruto like snow, like flower petals caught in a spring breeze, peaceful and serene. Zabuza saw them and laughed, a pained, desperate sound. Flower petals? You think you can... The petals moved. Not drifted, moved. With purpose, with intent, and they cut through the air faster than kunai, faster than shuriken. They surrounded Zabuza in a swirling cage, and wherever they touched, blood followed. Thin cuts appeared on his arms, his legs, his face. Not deep. Naruto wasn't trying to kill him yet, but numerous, dozens in the span of seconds, each one precise, each one deliberate. Zabuza tried to dodge, tried to jump away. The petals followed, anticipating his movement, boxing him in. He reached for his executioner's blade, and the petals severed the tendons in his hand before he could grip the handle. Stop! A voice cried out, young and desperate, and a figure appeared between Naruto and Zabuza. A boy in a mask, Hunter 9 insignia visible on his clothing. Stop this! Naruto's eyes shifted to the newcomer, and the petals froze mid-flight, hovering motionless in the air. Haku, Zabuza gasped, relief and pain mixing in his voice. A rescue attempt, Naruto observed. How noble, pointless but noble. Haku raised his hands, forming seals at impossible speed. Demonic ice mirrors. Mirrors of ice materialized around Naruto, forming a dome, each one reflecting his image from a different angle. Classic Haku technique, legendary for trapping enemies in a prison they couldn't escape, couldn't defend against, because Haku could move between the mirrors at speeds approaching light. Kakashi shouted a warning. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, trying to track the movement. Sakura covered her mouth with both hands. Naruto looked at the ice mirror surrounding him and sighed. You are proud of your speed, he said, addressing Haku, who stood in one of the mirrors, preparing to launch Senbon. Very well. I shall demonstrate true velocity. He dropped his reformed katana. It fell toward the bridge, blade point first, and instead of clattering to the wood, it sank through it, disappeared into the water below with barely a ripple. Haku hesitated. That wasn't normal. That wasn't. The water beneath the bridge exploded. 2 rows of colossal blades erupted from the surface, massive beyond comprehension, each one the size of the bridge itself. They rose into the sky like monuments, like buildings, like the teeth of gods, and their appearance sent shock waves rolling across the land of waves. Tazuna fell backward. Sasuke grabbed a railing to keep from being thrown off the bridge. Kakashi's Sharingan spun wildly, trying to process what he was seeing, and Naruto stood at the center of it all, between the 2 rows of giant blades, his expression unchanged. Bankai, he said quietly. Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. The blades shattered, all of them, simultaneously. They broke apart into hundreds of millions of cherry blossom petals, and the air itself became solid with them, became a pink ocean that stretched from the bridge to the horizon, that filled every space, every gap, every possible avenue of escape. Haku's ice mirrors lasted exactly 3 seconds. The petals shredded them, not broke them, not melted them, but reduced them to molecular dust. The mirrors crumbled, collapsed, ceased to exist, and Haku fell from his position, stumbling, blood already streaming from dozens of cuts. Impossible, Haku whispered, staring at the impossible, at the apocalyptic. This power, this isn't, what are you? Naruto raised one hand, and the ocean of petals responded, swirling into patterns too complex for human minds to follow, creating vortexes and currents and tides of cutting death. I am Byakuya Kuchiki, Naruto said, his voice carrying over the sound of a billion microscopic blades moving through air. I am the head of one of the 4 great noble houses. I am the wielder of Senbonzakura. And you. The petals converged on Haku. Not all of them, just enough, creating a sphere that enclosed him completely. You are simply too weak. The sphere contracted. Not crushing, not killing, but incapacitating. When the petals dispersed, Haku lay unconscious on the bridge, cuts covering his body, but none fatal, none permanent. Zabuza tried to move toward his student, but his injury stopped him halfway and he collapsed to his knees. "Finish it!" Zabuza growled, looking up at Naruto with something that might have been respect in his eyes. "You've won! Just make it quick!" Naruto regarded him for a long moment, the ocean of petals still swirling in the background, and then he spoke. "No." Zabuza blinked. "What?" "You are a deserter," Naruto said, walking closer, the petals parting around him like water around a stone. "You abandoned your village, your duty, your honor. These are crimes that merit execution. However," he stopped, looked down at the fallen missing nin with something that might have been contemplation. "However, you attempted to protect this boy. You raised him, trained him, gave him purpose when he had none. That speaks to a degree of nobility I did not expect from someone of your reputation." "So you're letting me go?" Zabuza asked, suspicion heavy in his tone. "No," Naruto replied. "I am offering you a choice. Return to the hidden mist. Face judgment for your desertion. Accept whatever punishment they decree. Or remain here in the land of waves. Build something. Protect this bridge, this village. Become something other than a missing nine wandering until someone stronger puts you down." The silence stretched. Zabuza stared at Naruto like he'd grown a second head. "Why?" Zabuza finally asked. "Why give me that choice?" "Because law without mercy is tyranny," Naruto said. "And tyranny is beneath the noble. You have committed crimes, yes, but you have also demonstrated loyalty, which is a virtue I respect. Choose wisely." He turned away, dismissing Zabuza from his attention, and the ocean of cherry blossom petals began to dissipate, fading back into nothing, returning to whatever spiritual dimension they emerged from. His katana reappeared in his hand. He sheathed it. "We will remain here until Tazuna completes his bridge," Naruto announced to Team 7. "After that, we return to Konoha. Are there any objections?" Nobody objected. Nobody was stupid enough to object. The Chunin Exams began with a written test, and Naruto completed it in 47 seconds. Not because the questions were easy, they were designed to be impossibly difficult, to force Genin to cheat without getting caught, to test their information-gathering skills under pressure. Naruto simply knew the answers, all of them. Because Byakuya Kuchiki had been a captain, had commanded a division, had access to intelligence and strategic knowledge that made these academy-level questions laughable. He stood, walked to Ibiki Morino's desk at the front of the room, and placed his completed test face down on the scarred wood. Ibiki looked up, surprise flickering across his scarred features. "You're done?" "Yes." "All the questions?" "Yes." "You understand that if you fail this test, your entire team is disqualified?" "I understand the rules," Naruto replied. "I also understand that I have answered every question correctly. You may verify this at your leisure." He returned to his seat. Ibiki picked up the test, scanned it, and his expression went from skeptical to genuinely shocked. Every answer was correct. Not close, not mostly right. Perfect, complete, demonstrating knowledge that a genin shouldn't possess. "Who is this kid?" Ibiki muttered to his assistant. The assistant checked the roster. Naruto Uzumaki, Team 7, Kakashi Hatake student. Kakashi's. Ibiki looked at Naruto again, reassessing. Kakashi students were typically exceptional, but this was different. This was something else entirely. The rest of the exam proceeded normally. Teams cheated, got caught, were disqualified. Sasuke used his Sharingan. Sakura used her intelligence. Other teams used various techniques ranging from clever to desperate. Naruto sat perfectly still, eyes closed, looking for all the world like he was meditating. When Ibiki announced the final question, the one designed to test courage, to force teams to risk disqualification or give up entirely, Naruto didn't even open his eyes. "Ask your question," he said simply. "You don't want to know what happens if you answer wrong?" "It is irrelevant. I will answer correctly." Ibiki couldn't help but smile at that. The kid had absolute confidence bordering on arrogance. "Very well. The question is..." "There is no question," Naruto interrupted, and now he opened his eyes, pinned Ibiki with that cold blue stare. "This is a psychological test. You wish to see who has the courage to proceed despite the threat of permanent disqualification. The answer is to simply stay seated and accept the risk. Those who give up will never advance. Those who stay have already passed." The room went silent. Ibiki stared at Naruto, and something like respect flickered in his expression. You're correct. All of you who remained have passed the first test. Anko Mitarashi crashed through the window a moment later, announcing the second exam. And if she noticed the unusual tension in the room, she didn't comment on it. The Forest of Death was supposed to be terrifying. It was called the Forest of Death for a reason. Massive creatures, deadly traps, enemy teams trying to steal scrolls, all combining to create a survival scenario that eliminated half the remaining participants before they reached the tower. Team 7 entered through Gate 12, and Naruto immediately took point. Stay behind me, he instructed Sasuke and Sakura. Do not engage unless I explicitly command it. Do not attempt to help. Simply follow. Sasuke bristled at that. I don't need. You do, Naruto interrupted. And more importantly, I do not need you. Consider this an opportunity to observe how a true shinobi operates. They moved through the forest in silence. Other teams occasionally appeared, attempted ambushes, tried to steal their scroll. Naruto dispatched them with minimal effort. A hand gesture here, a Kido spell there, occasionally drawing his blade and using the flat to knock opponents unconscious. He didn't kill, didn't maim. Simply removed obstacles with the same efficiency someone might use to clear weeds from a garden path. 27 teams entered the forest the same time as Team 7. 23 of them encountered Naruto. 23 of them lost. They reached the tower in 4 hours and 13 minutes, a new record that wouldn't be broken for decades. And then Orochimaru appeared. Team 7 had just opened their scrolls in the tower, triggering the summoning of an instructor, when the temperature dropped and killing intent flooded the chamber like physical weight. Iruka appeared, started to congratulate them, then stopped mid-sentence as his survival instinct screamed danger. Orochimaru melted out of the shadows, wearing the face of a grass genin, and his yellow eyes fixed on Sasuke with hungry interest. The last Uchiha, Orochimaru hissed, his voice carrying that distinctive mix of amusement and menace. I've been searching for you. Naruto stepped between them, not dramatically, not with any flourish, simply moved from his position to a location directly blocking Orochimaru's path to Sasuke, and the message was clear. You go through me first. Orochimaru's eyes shifted, noticed Naruto as though seeing him for the first time, and something flickered in that serpentine gaze. And who are you supposed to be? I am Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto replied, his tone suggesting boredom. I am also the barrier between you and your objective. Leave now, and I will not pursue you. Remain, and I will execute you for disrupting the Chunin Exams. Orochimaru laughed, the sound echoing off stone walls. Bold words from a genin. Do you know who I am? A traitor, Naruto said. A deserter. A man who abandoned Konoha and now skulks in shadows, afraid to face his former comrades in open battle. You are, in essence, exactly the type of coward I despise most. The laughter cut off. Orochimaru's expression went flat, dangerous, and killing intent rolled off him in waves that made Sasuke stumble backward, made Sakura gasp for air, made Iruka reach for his kunai with shaking hands. Naruto didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't even blink. You dare, Orochimaru whispered, and his neck extended, stretched like a snake, mouth opening impossibly wide to reveal fangs and a sword emerging from his throat. Naruto raised his right hand, formed no seals, and spoke. Bakudo number 81, Danku. A translucent barrier materialized between Naruto and Orochimaru, a rectangular wall of pure spiritual energy, and the Kusanagi blade struck it with a clang that rang through the chamber. The sword didn't penetrate, didn't even scratch the barrier. Orochimaru's eyes widened, genuine surprise flashing across his features, and he retracted his neck, reassessed the situation. Interesting, he hissed. That's not a chakra technique. What are you? I am a soul reaper, Naruto replied. And you are an abomination, a creature that defiles the natural order with your experiments, your body modifications, your desperate attempts to escape death. He raised his left hand now, index and middle fingers extended together, pointed at Orochimaru's chest. Hado number 33, Sokatsui. Blue spiritual fire exploded from Naruto's fingertips, massive and consuming, and it struck Orochimaru's center mass before the Sannin could dodge. The fire burned through the grass genin disguise, revealed Orochimaru's true face beneath, and he screamed, actually screamed, as spiritual flames ate at his chakra network, at his very soul. Orochimaru substituted, left a molting skin in his place, and reappeared across the chamber clutching his burned chest. "Impossible," he gasped, staring at Naruto with something approaching fear. "You shouldn't be able to. That fire, it's burning my soul directly. How?" "Because I operate on principles you do not understand," Naruto said, and now he drew his katana, the blade singing free with that distinctive crystal chime. "Because I am not bound by the limitations of chakra. Because I am, quite simply, superior." Orochimaru's hands flew through seals, and snakes erupted from his sleeves. Dozens of them, all venomous, all striking toward Naruto with killing intent. "Scatter," Naruto said calmly. "Senbonzakura." His blade dissolved into cherry blossom petals, and they swept forward in a pink wave that intercepted every snake mid-strike. The serpents fell in pieces, bisected cleanly, and Orochimaru stumbled backward as the petals continued their advance, cutting through his clothing, drawing blood from a dozen shallow wounds. "You cannot win this fight," Naruto stated, walking forward through the storm of petals. "You cannot escape these petals. They move faster than you can react, cut deeper than you can heal. Your only option is retreat." Orochimaru tried to use the body flicker technique, tried to escape, and the petals followed him, maintained their cage, kept him boxed in. Bakudo number 61, Rikujokoro. 6 rods of golden light appeared around Orochimaru, slammed into his torso, pinned him in place mid-step. The Sannin struggled, chakra surging, but the spiritual bindings held firm. Naruto stopped 3 feet from Orochimaru's frozen form, regarded him with cold contempt. "You came here hunting Sasuke Uchiha," Naruto said. "You wanted his body, his bloodline, his potential. You saw him as a vessel for your immortality experiments." "And?" Orochimaru hissed, despite the pain, despite the fear. "What of it?" "He is my teammate," Naruto replied, "which means he falls under my protection, which means you do not touch him. Ever." He raised his katana, the blade reformed now, solid again, and placed the edge against Orochimaru's throat. "I should execute you here," Naruto continued. "It would be justice. It would be proper. But your death would complicate matters. The Chunin Exams would be disrupted. Questions would be raised. Investigations launched. The Hokage would be forced to deal with political fallout." He lowered the blade slightly. "So I offer you the same choice I offered Zabuza Momochi. Leave now and never return to Konoha, or stay and face the consequences of fighting me to the death." "You're letting me go?" Orochimaru asked, disbelief thick in his voice. "I am expediting your departure," Naruto corrected. "There is a difference. Now choose before I change my mind and remove your head regardless of the political complications." The Kido bindings released. Orochimaru fell forward, caught himself, and looked at Naruto with an expression that mixed respect with something approaching terror. "We will meet again," Orochimaru promised, already backing toward the door. "Perhaps," Naruto replied, "but when we do, I will not be so merciful." Orochimaru fled, actually fled, using every speed technique he possessed to escape the tower, and Naruto watched him go with complete indifference. Behind him, Iruka finally found his voice. "You just fought Orochimaru. You drove off one of the legendary Sannin." "I did," Naruto agreed, sheathing his katana. "Is this surprising?" "Surprising! It's impossible. You're just a genin." "I am the reincarnation of a Soul Reaper captain," Naruto corrected. "The title genin is merely an administrative classification. It has no bearing on my actual capabilities." He turned to face his team, noted Sasuke's wide-eyed stare, Sakura's shocked expression. "We will proceed to the preliminary matches," Naruto announced. "I suggest you both prepare yourselves. The real exam begins now." The preliminaries took place in an arena beneath the tower, a massive chamber with a floor stained from decades of combat. 19 teams had made it through the forest of death, far more than usual, largely because most had actively avoided Team 7 after word spread about what Naruto was doing to anyone who challenged them. Hayate Gecko, the proctor, explained the rules. One-on-one matches, winners advance to the finals, losers go home. Simple, brutal, effective. The electronic board randomized the first match, Naruto Uzumaki vs Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba grinned as he descended to the arena floor. Akamaru perched on his head. "Finally! I've been waiting to prove that you're not as special as everyone thinks." Naruto stood across from him, expression unchanged, and said nothing. "What? No comeback?" Kiba taunted. "No fancy speech about nobility or whatever. "You are not worth speeches," Naruto replied simply. Kiba's grin vanished, replaced by a scowl. "I'm going to enjoy wiping that smug look off your face." "Begin," Hayate called, then immediately jumped back because experienced proctors learned to give powerful Chunin space. Kiba launched into his assault immediately, forelegs technique active, moving on all fours with Akamaru mirroring his movements. Fast, aggressive, using the Inuzuka clan's signature hit-and-run tactics. Naruto didn't draw his blade, didn't form seals, didn't even shift his stance. He simply vanished. Kiba's claw strike hit empty air, and confusion flashed across his face. Where did?" "Behind you," Naruto said, his voice coming from exactly where he claimed to be. Kiba spun, but Naruto was already moving again, using Shunpo to relocate behind Kiba's new position, staying perpetually one step ahead. "Too slow," Naruto observed. "Predictable. Your movements follow patterns designed for fighting humans with normal reflexes. Against someone with true speed, you are helpless." "Shut up," Kiba snarled, forming the seal for Man-Beast clone. Akamaru transformed into a copy of Kiba, and now 2 Inuzuka clan members circled Naruto, looking for an opening. "Fang over fang," they shouted in unison, becoming twin drills of chakra and claws, spinning toward Naruto from opposite directions. Naruto used Senka, Flash Blossom, the technique that combines Shunpo with a precisely timed strike designed to destroy an opponent's spiritual core. In this world, it translated to severing chakra points. He appeared behind Kiba, not the clone but the real one, and his hand touched Kiba's back so gently it might have been a pat between friends. Every chakra point in Kiba's body shut down. The spinning attack stopped mid-rotation. Kiba fell out of the technique, crashed to the ground, and Akamaru reverted to his natural form with a yelp of confusion. What did you do?" Kiba gasped, trying to stand, unable to channel any chakra whatsoever. "Severed your chakra network temporarily," Naruto explained, walking past Kiba's prone form. "The effect will wear off in approximately 6 hours. Until then, you are essentially a civilian." He stopped, looked down at Kiba with complete indifference. "You are slow," Naruto said. "Even falling down takes you too long." "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki," Hayate announced, and medics rushed forward to collect Kiba, who was still trying to process what had happened. In the audience section, Kakashi leaned toward Might Guy and whispered, "Did you see how he moved?" "I did not," Guy replied honestly. "My eyes could not track him. That speed, it surpasses even my own. Most troublesome." "He used no chakra for that movement technique," Kakashi continued, Sharingan spinning as he reviewed what he'd witnessed. "No hand seals, no chakra signature, nothing my Sharingan could copy. It's like he's operating on completely different principles." "Because I am," Naruto said, and both Jonin jumped because Naruto was standing directly behind them now, had used Shunpo to travel from the arena floor to the audience section between heartbeats. "How did you?" Kakashi started. "Shunpo," Naruto explained. "Flash step, a high-speed movement technique that uses spiritual pressure rather than chakra. It is one of the 4 basic combat forms of the Soul Reapers." He returned to the railing, looked down at the arena where the next match was being announced. "I am not hiding my abilities," Naruto continued, speaking to both Jonin. "I want the other villages to see what I can do. I want them to understand that Konoha possesses something they cannot counter, cannot replicate, cannot defend against." That's incredibly dangerous," Kakashi said. "You're painting a target on yourself." "I am painting a target on myself that I am fully capable of defending," Naruto corrected. "There is a difference." The next few matches proceeded normally. Sasuke defeated Yoroi Akado. Sakura lost to Ino in a double knockout. Neji Hyuga defeated Hinata Hyuga with excessive force. Tamari defeated Tenten. Shikamaru defeated Kintsuchi. And then the board displayed Naruto Uzumaki vs Neji Hyugan. Neji descended to the arena floor with confidence bordering on smugness. The Hyuga prodigy, the genius of his generation, the one who'd mastered the gentle fist style and the 8 trigrams techniques despite being from the branch family. "I watched your fight with Kiba," Neji said as they faced each other. "You are fast. I acknowledge that. But speed alone cannot defeat the Byakugan. I can see every move you make, predict every attack, counter every technique." "Can you?" Naruto asked, genuinely curious. "Fate has determined the outcome of this match," Neji declared, activating his Byakugan. Veins bulged around his eyes, and he settled into the gentle fist stance. You are the dead last, the failure, the one who should never have become a shinobi. I am a genius, destined for greatness despite my circumstances. The gap between us cannot be bridged. You speak of fate as though it binds you, Naruto observed. You speak of the branch family and the main family as though these labels determine worth. You call yourself a genius trapped in circumstances beyond your control. Because it's true, Neji snapped. The seal on my forehead, the curse mark of the branch family, it means I will always serve, always be beneath, always be a coward, Naruto interrupted, and Neji's expression went from angry to shocked. What did you? You hide behind the concept of fate because it absolves you of responsibility, Naruto continued, his tone clinical, detached. You failed to save your father, so you claim it was destiny. You served the main family, so you claim it was predetermined. You are bitter and angry, so you claim the world itself is unjust. You don't understand, Neji shouted, killing intent spiking. You, who have freedom, who have no seal, no cage, no. I understand perfectly, Naruto said. You are a bird in a cage complaining about the sky. You see the barriers around you and declare them insurmountable because attempting to break them would require actual effort, actual risk, actual courage. Begin, Hayate called. Neji launched forward immediately, gentle fist strikes aimed at Naruto's chakra points, confident that the Byakugan would let him see any defensive technique Naruto attempted. Naruto used Utsusumi Sakata shell technique, a high-speed movement that leaves an afterimage in place, making it appear as though the user remained stationary while they actually relocated. Neji's strike hit the afterimage, passed through it like smoke, and his Byakugan saw Naruto appear behind him. Impossible, Neji breathed, spinning to face the new position. I saw you. My Byakugan tracked your chakra. You should be. Your Byakugan tracks chakra, Naruto explained, drawing his katana. My techniques do not use chakra. They use spiritual pressure. Two different energies. Your eyes are blind to what I actually do. He raised the blade, held it horizontal before him. I shall show you the view from the heavens, Naruto said. The perspective you lack because you are too busy staring at your cage to look up. Scatter. The blade dissolved into cherry blossom petals, hundreds of them, swirling around Naruto in that signature pattern. Neji's Byakugan couldn't see them properly, couldn't track them. Because they weren't made of chakra, weren't physical objects in the traditional sense, they were manifestations of spiritual energy given form. Rotation, Neji shouted, spinning in place, creating the Hyuga clan's absolute defense, a dome of chakra that repelled all attacks. The petals hit the rotation and cut through it, not immediately, not easily, but they cut through it, microscopic blades finding gaps in the chakra flow, exploiting weaknesses in the defensive technique, and Neji's eyes went wide as his supposedly perfect defense failed him. Blood sprayed. Cuts appeared on Neji's arms, his legs, his torso, shallow, precise, designed to disable rather than kill, but numerous enough that Neji stumbled, fell to one knee, his rotation failing. You never stood a chance, Naruto said, and the petals continued their assault, creating a storm of cutting death that Neji's Byakugan could barely perceive. You see fate and destiny and predetermined outcomes. I see a student who gave up before the fight began. More cuts, more blood. Neji tried to stand, tried to form another rotation, but the petals were relentless. You speak of the gap between main family and branch family, Naruto continued, walking forward calmly as the petals parted around him. But that gap is nothing compared to the gap between commoners and nobility, between those who accept their station and those who transcend it. He stopped in front of Neji, looked down at the fallen Hyuga prodigy. I was born with the hatred of an entire village, Naruto said. I was isolated, despised, attacked in the streets. By your logic, I should have given up, should have accepted that fate decided my life would be suffering. The petals settled, floating gently around them both. Instead, Naruto continued, I chose to become something greater. I chose to master powers that transcend this world. I chose to rise above my circumstances rather than drown in them. He extended one hand, offered to help Neji up. You are not trapped by the seal on your forehead, Naruto said. You are trapped by the seal in your mind. Break that first, and the rest will follow. Neji stared at the offered hand, bleeding, defeated, and something in his expression shifted. Anger faded, replaced by contemplation, by the first genuine thought he'd had about his situation in years. He took Naruto's hand. Naruto pulled him up. "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki," Hayate announced, and the crowd erupted in applause that had nothing to do with village politics and everything to do with witnessing something extraordinary. In the Kage booth, the third Hokage leaned forward, studying Naruto with new eyes. Kakashi's report was accurate. That boy, he's not human anymore. Or rather, he's more than human. "He is dangerous," one of the advisors muttered. "Those powers, they're not of this world. They can't be controlled, can't be predicted, can't be stopped," Hiruzen interrupted. "Which means our only option is to ensure his loyalty remains with Konoha. Antagonizing him would be unwise." The preliminaries continued. More matches, more victories, more eliminations. By the end, 8 fighters remained for the finals. Naruto, Uzumaki, Sasuke, Uchiha, Shikamaru Nara, Gaara of the Desert, Temari of the Dead, Kankuro of the Desert, Shino Aburame, Dosu Kinuta. They had 1 month to prepare. Naruto spent it alone. The finals took place in a massive outdoor stadium, packed with civilians, dignitaries, feudal lords, and shinobi from multiple villages. The third Hokage sat in his booth with the Kazekage, discussing politics and alliances while secretly preparing for the invasion they both knew was coming. Naruto stood in the arena, waiting for the first match to be announced. He wore the same black kimono-style outfit, the white scarf draped over his shoulders. His katana hung at his side, undrawn. His expression remained that same cold mask of aristocratic indifference. The crowd whispered about him. The genin who defeated Neji Hyuga, the one with the impossible techniques, the dead last who'd become something incomprehensible. "First match!" Genma Shiranui, the new proctor, announced. "Naruto Uzumaki versus Dosu Kinuta." Dosu descended from the waiting area, his sound gauntlet gleaming in the sunlight. "I studied your previous fights. Your speed is impressive. Your techniques are unusual, but sound travels faster than you can move, and my gauntlet will disrupt your inner ear, destroy your balance, make that speed useless." "An interesting theory," Naruto replied. "Flawed, but interesting." "Begin!" Dosu raised his gauntlet, prepared to unleash a sound wave that would disorient any normal opponent. Naruto raised one finger, pointed it at Dosu's chest. Hado number 4, Byakurai. A beam of white lightning shot from Naruto's fingertip, crossed the distance between them faster than thought, and struck Dosu's sound gauntlet directly. The device exploded, metal and crystal fragmenting, and Dosu screamed as electrical energy coursed through his arm. He fell backward, clutching his burned hand, and Genma immediately jumped in. "Winner by a knockout, Naruto Uzumaki," the crowd roared. The entire exchange had taken less than 5 seconds. "Next match," Genma called. "Sasuke Uchiha versus..." The invasion began. Explosions rocked the stadium. Smoke bombs detonated across the seating sections. Sound-based genjutsu put civilians to sleep. Sand and sound shinobi poured into the arena from concealed positions. In the Kage booth, the Kazekage moved, not to escape, not to defend. He moved to attack, and his hands closed around the third Hokage's throat before any of the Anbu guards could react. Finally, Orochimaru hissed, because the Kazekage was Orochimaru wearing the dead Kage's face, and he'd been planning this for months. The invasion begins and Konoha falls. In the arena, Naruto watched the chaos unfold with complete calm. Sand shinobi attacked the remaining genin. Sound shinobi moved toward the civilians. Giant summoned snakes appeared at the stadium walls. And everyone expected panic, expected terror, expected Konoha to scramble in desperate defense. Naruto drew his katana. "Scatter," he said quietly. But his voice carried across the entire stadium somehow, cut through the explosions and the screams and the chaos. Senbonzakura. The blade dissolved into cherry blossom petals, and they swept outward in a wave that made the previous demonstrations look like practice exercises. Thousands of petals filled the arena. They intercepted kunai mid-flight, stopped shuriken before they hit civilians, created barriers between attackers and defenders. And every enemy shinobi who tried to advance found themselves cut, bleeding, forced back by an impenetrable wall of beautiful, deadly flowers. "Konoha shinobi," Naruto announced, and his voice held absolute command. "Evacuate the civilians. Leave the invaders to me." "You can't handle an entire invasion force alone," one of the jonin shouted back. Naruto didn't respond with words. He dropped his reformed katana into the arena floor, and it sank through the packed earth like butter. The ground rippled. The stadium shook. And from the corners of the arena, from the walls, from the very foundation of the structure, 2 rows of colossal blades erupted into the sky. Not as large as the ones in the Land of Waves, this was a civilian stadium, and Naruto was being somewhat restrained, but massive nonetheless. Each blade the size of a building, stretching toward the clouds. The entire invasion force stopped mid-attack, staring at the impossibility. "Bankai," Naruto said, and his voice held no emotion, no triumph, just cold statement of fact. "Senbonzakura Kageyoshi." The blades shattered into hundreds of millions of cherry blossom petals, and the sky turned pink. The arena, the stadium, the entire surrounding area became an ocean of microscopic cutting death, and Naruto stood at the center of it all, conducting the storm with small hand gestures. The invaders tried to run. The petals followed. They tried to substitute. The petals tracked them. They tried to use defensive techniques. The petals cut through. This wasn't a battle. This wasn't even a fight. This was a natural disaster wearing a human face, and every enemy shinobi in the stadium realized, too late, that they brought kunai to apocalypse. "Senkei," Naruto said, and the petals condensed around a cluster of sound shinobi formed a massive sphere that compressed inward. "Annihilation scenery." The sphere contracted. When it dispersed, the sound shinobi lay unconscious, cut by 10,000 blades but still alive because Naruto had chosen mercy. "Gotei," Naruto continued, pointing at a sand sibling team, and the petals formed a different configuration. A crushing sphere that pinned Kankuro and Tamari without killing them. Gaara tried to use his sand defense, created a sphere around himself, confident in its absolute protection. The petals shredded it like tissue paper. Not broke through, shredded, reduced it to individual grains that scattered in the wind, and Gaara, the Jinchuriki of the One Tail, the most dangerous genin in the exams, fell to his knees, bleeding, overwhelmed, his sand unable to keep pace with hundreds of millions of simultaneous attacks. "Surrender," Naruto commanded, and his voice cut through the chaos, reached every invader still conscious. "You have lost. Your invasion has failed. Continue fighting, and I will be forced to demonstrate lethality rather than restraint." Most of them dropped their weapons immediately. A few tried to flee, and the petals herded them back like sheep, cut their legs when they didn't comply, forced them into submission. In the Kage booth, Orochimaru stared down at the arena with genuine fear in his yellow eyes. "That boy," he whispered, still holding the 3rd Hokage by the throat. "That boy is the one who burned me in the tower. He's like a god down there." "Release me," Hiruzen gasped, hands pulling at Orochimaru's fingers, "or that god will come for you next." Orochimaru laughed, but it sounded hollow. "He can't reach me here. I have barriers. I have—" A cherry blossom petal drifted past Orochimaru's face. Just one. Singular. Delicate. It cut through the barrier around the Kage booth like the barrier didn't exist, and a thin red line appeared on Orochimaru's cheek. Orochimaru's eyes went wide. He released the Hokage, stumbled backward, stared at the single petal hovering in front of him. "You cannot hide from me," Naruto's voice said, and he stood in the booth now, had used Shunpo to travel from arena floor to Kage observation area. "You cannot run from me. You cannot escape from me." The ocean of petals continued to swirl around the stadium, continued to subdue invaders, but a portion of them surrounded Orochimaru, boxed him in, waited for the command to shred. "I told you before," Naruto continued, drawing his reformed katana. "The next time we met, I would not be merciful." "Wait!" The 3rd Hokage raised his hand, coughing, massaging his bruised throat. "Naruto, stand down. I will handle Orochimaru." "You cannot," Naruto replied, not looking from Orochimaru. "He is too fast, too skilled, has too many techniques. You will die fighting him." "Perhaps," Hiruzen agreed, forming hand seals. "But I am the Hokage. This is my duty, my responsibility, my—" "Your village," Naruto interrupted, "which I am defending, which I have successfully defended. The invasion is over. The enemy is defeated. Allow me to complete the task." He raised his blade, pointed it at Orochimaru's throat. "You attempted to destroy Konoha," Naruto stated. "You killed the Kazekage. You manipulated the Sand Village. You orchestrated an invasion that would have killed thousands. These are crimes beyond redemption. And you'll execute me here?" Orochimaru hissed, sweat beading on his pale face. In front of witnesses, in front of the Hokage, in front of... Yes, Naruto said simply. I will. Unless the Hokage believes your life has value beyond the immediate moment. Unless there is information you possess, techniques you know, secrets that would benefit Konoha more than your death would satisfy justice. Naruto looked at Hiruzen, and in that moment, the third Hokage saw something that made him profoundly uncomfortable. This boy was giving him the choice, but only as a courtesy. If Hiruzen said no, Naruto would execute Orochimaru regardless. Let him go, Hiruzen said finally, every word painful. He will face trial. He will face judgment, but not like this, not here. Naruto held his blade steady for 3 more seconds, then lowered it. Very well, he said. Bakudo number 75, Gochitakan. 5 massive pillars of iron appeared out of nowhere, slammed down around Orochimaru in a pentagonal formation, pinning him to the floor of the booth completely immobile. He will remain bound until Anbu arrive, Naruto announced. If he attempts to escape, the pillars will crush him. If anyone attempts to free him, the same applies. He turned and walked away, using Shunpo to return to the arena floor where the ocean of petals was finishing subduing the last few invaders. The entire invasion force, 300 shinobi from sand and sound combined, lay defeated, unconscious or bound, none dead because Naruto had chosen restraint. The civilians stared in awe. The Konoha shinobi stared in shock. And the invaders who were still conscious stared in absolute terror because they just witnessed one person defeat an entire invasion army without breaking a sweat. Naruto stood at the center of the arena, surrounded by cherry blossom petals that slowly began to dissipate, and he looked up at the Hokage. The Chunin exams are concluded, Naruto said. I will return when you require me. He walked out of the stadium, the white scarf trailing behind him, and nobody tried to stop him. Nobody was stupid enough to try to stop him. 2 weeks later, Sasuke Uchiha stood at the Valley of the End, staring at the statues of Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha locked in eternal combat. He'd left Konoha that night, had accepted Orochimaru's offer, before the invasion failed, before Orochimaru was captured, to gain power through the Sound Village, had activated the cursed seal, felt the power flowing through him, and had made the decision that staying in Konoha would never let him achieve his goals. Revenge on Itachi required strength. More strength than Kakashi could teach, more strength than Konoha could provide. So he'd left, snuck out during the chaos of post-invasion recovery, and had made it all the way to the border. Almost made it. Sasuke Uchiha. The voice came from behind him, cold, informal, and completely expected. Sasuke turned, found Naruto standing 20 feet away, wearing the same black outfit, the same white scarf, the same expression of aristocratic disdain. I was wondering when you'd show up, Sasuke said, and despite the fear coiling in his gut, he forced confidence into his tone. Come to drag me back? Yes, Naruto replied simply. And if I refuse, then I will execute you for desertion. You are a shinobi of Konoha. You swore oaths, you accepted responsibilities. Leaving without permission is a capital crime. Capital crime, Sasuke echoed, laughing bitterly. You sound like some feudal lord, not a shinobi. I am both, Naruto said. I am a noble, and I am a weapon of Konoha. You, however, are simply a criminal. Sasuke's hands clenched into fists. You don't understand. I need power. I need strength to kill Itachi, to avenge my clan, to throw away everything your clan stood for in pursuit of revenge, Naruto interrupted. The Uchiha were one of the founding families of Konoha. They were nobility, warriors with pride and honor. You spit on that legacy by consorting with traitors and missing 9. Itachi killed them all, Sasuke shouted, and cursed seal marks spread across his skin, the dark flame-like patterns crawling up his neck, his face. He destroyed the Uchiha, and you expect me to just... what? Stay in the village and train normally? Play by the rules while my brother lives free? I expect you to have the courage to face your weakness rather than fleeing from it, Naruto replied. I expect you to build strength through discipline rather than shortcuts. I expect you to behave like the noble you claim to be. I don't claim to be anything, Sasuke snarled, and now his Sharingan activated, 3 tomoe spinning in each eye. I just want power, and Orochimaru can give me that. Orochimaru is imprisoned, Naruto said. Your patron is captured. Your plan has failed. Return to Konoha, and we will discuss alternative training methods. Refuse, and And what? Sasuke interrupted, charging forward, fist pulled back, curse seal energy coating his arm. You'll kill me? You'll execute the last loyal Uchiha because I wanted to get stronger? His punch struck Naruto's face, or would have, if Naruto hadn't used Utsusemi to leave an after image behind. The after image dispersed into cherry blossom petals, and Sasuke's fist hit nothing but air. Last warning, Naruto said from behind Sasuke, and the Uchiha spun to face him. Return willingly or return unconscious. Choose. Neither, Sasuke screamed, and the cursed seal spread further, began to cover his entire body. I choose to fight. Wings erupted from Sasuke's back. Grotesque, webbed, formed from cursed seal energy. His skin turned gray, his hair grew longer, and his eyes burned with crimson light. Cursed seal level 2, the transformation that granted immense power at the cost of one's humanity. Sasuke launched skyward, wings beating, and looked down at Naruto with something between triumph and madness. You can't catch me now. Your speed doesn't matter if I'm in the air, if I can. Naruto raised one hand, index and middle fingers extended together, pointed upward at Sasuke's hovering form. Hado number 33, Sokatsui. Blue spiritual fire erupted from Naruto's fingertips, massive and consuming, and it struck Sasuke before he could dodge. The flames burned through the cursed seal energy, scorched his wings, sent him crashing back to earth in a smoking heap. Your transformation is grotesque, Naruto observed, walking toward where Sasuke lay gasping. You sacrifice your humanity for temporary power. This is not strength, this is desperation. Sasuke struggled to his feet, wings regenerating slowly, cursed seal marks pulsing as they healed damage. I don't care. I don't care what it costs. I need this power. Then you are a fool, Naruto said, and now he drew his katana, the blade singing free. Power without discipline is chaos. Strength without honor is brutality. You seek to become strong, but you only become monstrous. He raised the blade, held it horizontal before him, and Sasuke's eyes went wide because he recognized this stance, had seen it in the preliminaries, knew what came next. No, Sasuke breathed. No, you can't, not that. Return, Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto commanded one final time, or face the consequences of your choice. Sasuke's answer came in the form of Chidori, the lightning blade, Kakashi's signature technique, crackling electricity coating his hand as he charged forward with everything he had. I refuse, Sasuke roared, wings propelling him forward at maximum speed. Chidori aimed at Naruto's heart. I refuse to be weak. I refuse to submit. I refuse to. Naruto dropped his katana. It fell toward the earth, blade point first, and disappeared through the stone ground of the Valley of the End like the stone was water. The ground beneath both of them rippled. Sasuke's charge faltered, confusion breaking his concentration, because this wasn't normal, wasn't possible, wasn't. Two rows of colossal blades erupted from the earth behind Naruto, each one larger than the massive statues of Hashirama and Madara, stretching into the sky like monuments to divine power. Sasuke skidded to a halt, staring upward, his Chidori dispersing from pure shock. What are those? Naruto stood perfectly calm between the two rows of giant blades, and the air became heavy, became thick, became crushing as spiritual pressure flooded the valley. My Bankai, Naruto said quietly. Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. The blades shattered, all of them, simultaneously. They broke apart into billions of cherry blossom petals, and the valley became pink, became solid with microscopic cutting death, became an ocean that swallowed everything. Sasuke tried to maintain his cursed seal transformation. The petals shredded his wings in seconds, stripped the gray skin from his body, forced him to revert to normal form just to survive. He threw up a Chidori as defense. The petals consumed it, drank the lightning like water, continued their advance. He tried to use substitution. The petals followed, tracked him, gave him no escape. This is the difference between us, Naruto said, and his voice carried across the storm of petals, reached Sasuke despite the overwhelming sound of billions of blades moving through air. You sought shortcuts. I mastered fundamentals. You chased power. I embodied it. You became a monster. I remained a noble. The petals converged on Sasuke from all directions, creating a sphere that compressed inward, and Sasuke screamed, actually screamed, as cuts appeared faster than he could count, as blood flowed faster than he could process. Stop! He gasped, falling to his knees. Sharingan still spinning but useless because there was nothing to see, nothing to predict, nothing to counter. Please, I surrender! The petals stopped, not dispersed, not retreated, simply froze in place, hovering millimeters from Sasuke's skin, each one a reminder of how completely Naruto controlled this battle. Naruto walked forward through the ocean of petals, and they parted around him like water around a stone, creating a path that demonstrated absolute mastery. He stopped in front of Sasuke's kneeling form. "You are Sasuke Uchiha," Naruto said, looking down with those cold blue eyes. "Last of a noble clan, bearer of a powerful bloodline, heir to a legacy of warriors and leaders." He extended one hand, placed it on Sasuke's shoulder. "You are also a child throwing a tantrum," Naruto continued. "A boy who saw hardship and chose the easiest path rather than the honorable one. A student who abandoned his teacher, his teammates, his village because he lacked the patience to build strength properly." Sasuke tried to speak, but no words came. Shock, fear, pain, shame, all of it mixed into something that left him unable to form coherent thoughts. "I am taking you back to Konoha," Naruto stated. "You will face judgment for desertion. You will accept whatever punishment the Hokage decrees. And then, if you demonstrate genuine remorse, genuine commitment to improvement, I will personally train you." You'll train me?" Sasuke managed, looking up with genuine confusion. "You have potential," Naruto replied. "The Sharingan is a noble bloodline, and you dishonor it with your current behavior. I will not allow that. I will not permit the Uchiha legacy to die in cowardice and shortcuts." He raised his free hand, and the ocean of petals began to dissipate, returning to whatever spiritual dimension they emerged from. Bakudo number 61, Rikujo Koro. 6 rods of golden light appeared around Sasuke, pinned him in place, ensured he couldn't attempt another escape. Naruto reached down, grabbed Sasuke by the collar of his shirt, and lifted him effortlessly despite the binding spell holding him immobile. "We return now," Naruto announced, beginning the long walk back toward Konoha, dragging Sasuke behind him like luggage. "The Hokage awaits. Justice awaits. Your future, whatever it may be, awaits." Sasuke hung there, bound and helpless, and watched the Valley of the End recede behind them. The massive statues of Hashirama and Madara seemed to judge him, to find him wanting, to declare him unworthy of standing where legends had fought. And Naruto walked with measured steps, each footfall perfectly placed, the white scarf trailing behind him like a banner of nobility, completely unbothered by the weight he carried. They reached Konoha's gates 3 hours later. The guards stared in shock, at Naruto's return, at Sasuke bound in golden light, at the clear message that an attempted defection had been stopped before it could truly begin. "Inform the Hokage," Naruto instructed the guards. "Sasuke Uchiha attempted desertion. I have apprehended him and returned him for judgment." He walked past the gates, through the village streets, and civilians stopped to stare, to whisper, to process what they were seeing. The dead last, the failure, the boy they'd hated and scorned, was dragging the Uchiha heir through the streets like a criminal. The power dynamic had shifted so completely that nobody knew how to react. They reached the Hokage tower, climbed the stairs, entered Hiruzen's office where the third Hokage waited with his advisors, with Anbu guards, with the weight of authority and law. Naruto tossed Sasuke forward, gently but firmly, and the Uchiha landed on his knees before the Hokage's desk, still bound by golden light. "Sasuke Uchiha," Hiruzen said, and his voice held disappointment, sadness, resignation. "You attempted to leave the village, to defect to our enemies. Why?" Sasuke remained silent, staring at the floor. "Answer the Hokage," Naruto commanded, and the binding spell tightened slightly, just enough to be uncomfortable. "I wanted power," Sasuke finally said, voice barely above a whisper. "To kill Itachi, to avenge my clan. I thought Orochimaru could give me that faster than Konoha could." "And now?" Hiruzen asked. Sasuke looked up, and something in his expression had changed. The arrogance was gone. The certainty was gone. All that remained was a confused, frightened teenager who just learned that power he'd sought was nothing compared to what actually existed. "Now I don't know," Sasuke admitted. "I don't know anything anymore." Hiruzen nodded slowly, consideringly. "You will be placed under house arrest for 6 months. You will undergo psychological evaluation. You will train under Naruto's supervision, if he's willing to accept that responsibility." All eyes turned to Naruto. "I am willing," Naruto said, "on one condition." "Which is?" Hiruzen asked. "That Sasuke swears an oath, binding, unbreakable, that he will never again attempt desertion, that he will commit himself to Konoha, to its laws, to its structure, that he will rebuild the Uchiha name through honor rather than revenge. Silence filled the office. Sasuke stared at Naruto, processing the offer, the condition, the implications. "If I refuse?" Sasuke asked quietly. "Then I recommend exile," Naruto replied. "You cannot be trusted in the village, cannot be allowed access to Konoha's techniques and resources. You become a missing nin officially, hunted by Anbu, and I personally ensure you never threaten this village again." The choice was clear: commit or leave, rebuild or be destroyed, honor or exile. "I swear," Sasuke said finally, each word heavy with meaning. "I swear on the Uchiha name, on my brother's memory, on whatever honor I have left, I will not desert again. I will serve Konoha. I will rebuild my clan through legitimate means." The binding spell released him, the golden rods disappearing, and Sasuke slumped forward, free but somehow more trapped than ever. "Then we are concluded," Hiruzen declared. "Sasuke, you are dismissed to house arrest. Anbu will escort you. Naruto, please remain. We have much to discuss." Anbu materialized, collected Sasuke, and vanished in leaves and shadow. Naruto remained standing before the Hokage's desk, expression unchanged, waiting. "You've changed everything," Hiruzen said once they were alone. Once the advisors had been dismissed, once only the Hokage and the reincarnated Soul Reaper remained. "In less than 6 months, you've demonstrated powers that shouldn't exist, defeated an invasion single-handedly, and apprehended a defector before he could truly leave. The question I must ask is, what do you want?" "Want?" Naruto repeated, as though the concept was foreign. "Everyone wants something," Hiruzen clarified. "Power, recognition, revenge, peace. What drives you, Naruto? What goal directs your actions?" Naruto was silent for a long moment, considering the question with genuine thought. "Order," he finally said. "Law, structure, proper hierarchy. The world is chaos, Hokage. Villages war with each other for resources and pride. Shinobi betray their comrades for personal gain. Power is hoarded by those who lack the wisdom to use it properly." He met Hiruzen's eyes. "I want to fix that," Naruto continued. "I want to create a system where strength serves justice, where nobles protect commoners, where law restrains chaos. I want—" He paused, searching for the right words. "I want to be what Byakuya Kuchiki was in the Soul Society," Naruto finished. "A pillar of order, a force that maintains structure through overwhelming power and unwavering principle. That is what drives me." Hiruzen leaned back in his chair, studying Naruto with ancient eyes that had seen generations of shinobi rise and fall. "That is a noble goal," the Hokage said carefully. "Also a dangerous one. Order imposed by force is tyranny, Naruto, no matter how noble the intention." "Perhaps," Naruto acknowledged, "but chaos tolerated by weakness is anarchy, which is worse. I would rather be a benevolent tyrant than a passive observer of destruction." "And if I, as Hokage, ordered you to stand down, to stop using these powers, to submit to the village's authority?" Naruto smiled, the first genuine smile Hiruzen had seen on his face, and it was cold as winter. "Then I would respectfully decline," Naruto said, "and leave Konoha to its own devices. I do not require this village, Hokage. I remain here by choice, not necessity. The moment that choice becomes unreasonable, I depart." "That's treason," one of the Anbu guards whispered from the shadows. "No," Hiruzen corrected. "That's honesty, which I respect more than false loyalty." He stood, walked to the window, looked out at Konoha spread beneath the tower. "Very well," Hiruzen said after a long moment. "Continue as you have been. Protect Konoha, train Sasuke, advance through the ranks. But know this, Naruto, the moment your order conflicts with Konoha's interests, we will have a problem." "Understood," Naruto replied. "Though I would point out that Konoha's interests and my concept of order are currently aligned, I have no intention of becoming Konoha's enemy." "Currently aligned," Hiruzen echoed. "Yes, let us hope it remains that way." He turned, looked at Naruto directly. "You are dismissed. Report to Kakashi tomorrow for team assignments." "And Naruto?" "Yes, Hokage? Thank you for stopping the invasion, for saving the village, for being something we desperately needed, even if we didn't know we needed it." Naruto inclined his head slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement from noble to authority figure. Then he used Shunpo and vanished from the office in a blur of movement too fast to track. Hiruzen stood alone, staring at the empty space where Naruto had been, and allowed himself a moment of genuine fear mixed with genuine hope. Fear because that boy, that reincarnated Soul Reaper, was powerful enough to destroy Konoha if he chose. Hope because that same boy had chosen to protect it instead. Night fell over Konoha, and Naruto stood on the Hokage monument, looking down at the village spread beneath him. Lights twinkled in the darkness. Civilians went about their evening routines. Shinobi patrolled the walls. Everything seemed peaceful, orderly, safe. He felt the presence before the voice spoke. "You're standing on my face," Hiruzen said, appearing behind Naruto on the monument. "Most people find that disrespectful." "Most people have not earned the right to stand wherever they choose," Naruto replied without turning. "And you have. I have proven my worth. I have demonstrated my power. I have saved this village from destruction. Yes, I have earned that right." Hiruzen walked forward until he stood beside Naruto, both of them looking down at Konoha. "Tell me about Byakuya Kuchiki," Hiruzen said. "About who you were before you became Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto was silent for a long moment, deciding whether to share, whether this old man deserved to know. "I was the head of the Kuchiki clan," Naruto finally said. "One of the 4 great noble houses of the Soul Society. I commanded the 6th division of the Gotei 13, the organization that maintains order among souls, that protects the balance between life and death itself." "You were nobility," Hiruzen observed. "I was. I am. Being reborn does not change what one fundamentally is. I possessed wealth beyond measure, servants beyond count, respect beyond question. I also possessed responsibilities to maintain my clan's honor, to serve the Soul Society, to uphold the laws that govern spiritual existence. And you died? Eventually. All things end, even Soul Reapers. My death was not dramatic, not tragic, simply complete. My time ended, and I was reborn here in this world, with all my memories intact." "That must have been difficult," Hiruzen said, "being an infant with an adult's memories and personality." "It was tedious," Naruto admitted, "waiting for this body to develop, to become strong enough to channel spiritual pressure, to manifest my Zanpakuto. Years of patience while surrounded by ignorant children who thought I was one of them, including the villagers who hated you, especially them. Their hatred was..." Naruto paused, considering. "Beneath notice. Mosquitoes buzzing around a lion. I could have destroyed them at any moment, but chose not to because killing civilians would violate the order I sought to establish." "You showed mercy," Hiruzen said. "I showed restraint," Naruto corrected. "Mercy implies caring about their suffering. I simply maintained proper conduct." They stood in silence for several minutes, watching Konoha sleep. "What happens now?" Hiruzen finally asked. "You've demonstrated your power. You've stopped an invasion. You've captured a defector. What's your next move?" "I train Sasuke," Naruto replied. "I ensure he becomes worthy of the Uchiha name. I continue to protect Konoha from threats both external and internal. I build a foundation of order that will outlast my presence. And eventually, I transcend this world. I return to the Soul Society, or move beyond it to whatever lies further. But that is years away, decades perhaps. For now I remain here in Konoha, serving as both weapon and warden." "That's a lonely existence," Hiruzen observed. "Nobility is always lonely," Naruto said. "It is the price of elevation, the cost of standing above rather than among. I accepted that price long ago." Hiruzen nodded slowly, understanding despite disagreeing. "You'll make a fine Hokage someday," Hiruzen said. "When you're ready, when the time comes." "Perhaps," Naruto replied, "though I suspect my methods would be controversial." "Controversial," Hiruzen echoed with a small laugh. "Yes, I suspect they would. But effective, that's what matters." He turned to leave, to return to his office and his endless paperwork, but stopped after a few steps. "Naruto? Yes, Hokage? Thank you for choosing Konoha, for remaining loyal despite having every reason not to be, for being something we needed even if we didn't deserve it." "You are welcome," Naruto said simply. Hiruzen left, and Naruto remained on the monument, watching the village, maintaining his vigil. The wind caught his white scarf. The Ginpaku Kazahana no Chiru were 10 mansions, and it fluttered like a banner in the darkness. Below, Konoha slept, protected by a force of nature wearing human face. Above, stars wheeled through their eternal patterns, indifferent to the drama of mortals. And Naruto Uzumaki, Byakuya Kuchiki, the reincarnated Soul Reaper, the noble of Konoha, the wielder of Senbonzakura, stood watch, because that was what nobles did. They protected those beneath them. They maintained order in chaos. They stood as pillars when everything else crumbled. He would stand for as long as necessary, for as long as Konoha required a guardian, for as long as the world needed someone to enforce law over anarchy. And when that time ended, when his duty was complete, he would transcend to whatever came next, satisfied that he had fulfilled his purpose. But that time was not now. Now, he simply watched and waited and prepared for whatever challenges the future held. Because challenges would come. They always did. And when they arrived, they would find not a genin, not a jinchuriki, not a village's weapon. They would find Byakuya Kuchiki, and they would learn the price of threatening what he protected. The price came due 3 months later. Training Ground 7 had changed. Where once stood trees and simple wooden posts, now existed a carefully maintained dojo-style structure with polished floors and walls inscribed with spiritual seals. Naruto had personally funded its construction using mission payments, and the Kuchiki fortune he'd somehow manifested through methods the village accountants didn't question. Sasuke Uchiha knelt in the center, eyes closed, sweat dripping from his chin. Again, Naruto commanded from his position by the wall. Sasuke stood, formed the hand seals for Chidori, and the lightning chakra crackled to life around his fist. He charged forward at maximum speed, aiming for the training dummy positioned at the far end. The petals intercepted him, just a dozen of them, manifestations of Senbonzakura at minimal power, and they boxed Sasuke in completely. His Chidori dispersed on contact with the spiritual energy, and he stumbled, fell to one knee, gasping. "Your technique is flawed," Naruto observed, not moving from his position. "You channel chakra through your arm, creating lightning, then charge in a straight line. Predictable, easily countered, fundamentally inferior." "I'm trying to." Sasuke started. "Trying is irrelevant. Results matter. You have trained under my supervision for 3 months. Your progress is acceptable but insufficient. The Uchiha were nobility. You dishonor that legacy with mediocrity." Sasuke's fists clenched, but he said nothing. He'd learned that arguing with Naruto was pointless. The gap between them wasn't closing. If anything, it was widening, as Naruto continued to refine techniques that shouldn't exist in this world. "Your Sharingan," Naruto continued, walking forward now, each step perfectly measured, "is a tool. A powerful tool, but merely a tool. It copies techniques. It predicts movement. It casts illusions. None of these abilities make you strong. They make you dangerous to those weaker than yourself." He stopped in front of Sasuke, looked down at the kneeling Uchiha. "To defeat Itachi, you must transcend tools. You must become the technique itself. Until you understand this, you will remain a child playing with weapons." "Then teach me," Sasuke said, looking up, and something in his expression had changed over these months. The arrogance was gone. The certainty was gone. All that remained was genuine hunger to improve. "Show me how to transcend." Naruto regarded him for a long moment. "Very well, stand." Sasuke stood. Naruto drew his katana, held it horizontal before him. "Observe closely. This is Senbonzakura's Shikai. The blade scatters into petals. Each petal is a microscopic blade. Together they form an ocean of cutting death that I control through spiritual pressure." The blade dissolved, petals swirling gently around them both. "Your Chidori is similar in concept. Concentrated energy weaponized, but you hold it in your hand, limiting its range, its versatility, its potential. What if you could scatter your lightning like I scatter my blade?" Sasuke's Sharingan spun, tracking the petals, analyzing the concept. "The chakra would disperse," Sasuke said. "I'd lose control." "Because you think of chakra as something to contain rather than command. Lightning wants to spread, wants to branch, wants to seek ground. You force it into a shape it resists. Instead, work with its nature, let it scatter, but maintain your will throughout the dispersion." Naruto gestured, and the petals reformed into his sealed blade. "Attempt it. Channel Chidori, then release your grip. Maintain control through intent rather than force." Sasuke formed the seals. Lightning crackled around his hand, the signature sound of Chidori filling the training ground. He hesitated, then released his grip slightly. The lightning exploded outward, uncontrolled, striking the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Sasuke gasped, fell backward, chakra exhausted. "Pathetic first attempt," Naruto said without emotion, "but instructive. You released force without maintaining will." Again, tomorrow. For now, rest. You are dismissed. Sasuke struggled to his feet, bowed slightly, a gesture of respect he'd never shown before, and left the training ground. Naruto stood alone, watching cherry blossom petals drift on artificial wind he'd created. "You're being too hard on him," Kakashi's voice came from the doorway. The copy ninja leaned against the frame, visible eye studying Naruto. "He's progressing faster than any student I've ever trained." "That is because your standards are too low," Naruto replied. "He is acceptable." "Acceptable is insufficient for someone bearing the Uchiha name." "The Uchiha are dead, Naruto. Sasuke is the last. You can't hold him to standards established by an entire clan over generations." "Why not? I am held to standards established by Soul Reapers over millennia. I do not complain. I do not make excuses. I simply achieve them." Kakashi pushed off the door frame, walked into the training ground proper. "You really believe that? That you're still bound by Soul Society rules, even though you're in a completely different world?" "Law is not bound by geography," Naruto stated. "Order transcends dimensions. The principles that govern the Soul Society govern existence itself. I merely enforce them where I am." Kakashi paused, searching for words. "That's incredibly rigid thinking. Rigidity is strength. Flexibility is weakness disguised as virtue." Naruto turned, met Kakashi's eye. The third Hokage's flexibility allowed Orochimaru to escape justice multiple times. That flexibility enabled the invasion that killed hundreds. Rigidity would have executed Orochimaru the first time he transgressed. Hundreds would still live. We don't execute people preemptively based on potential future crimes. Why not? If the pattern is clear, if the threat is evident, if the law has been broken, why delay justice? Because that's tyranny, Naruto. That's executing people for thought crimes. No, that is executing people for actual crimes committed, then preventing future crimes through proper judgment. Orochimaru experimented on children. He murdered Anbu operatives. He attempted to overthrow the Hokage. These are established facts. Letting him live was mercy. Mercy enabled the invasion. Therefore, mercy was wrong. Kakashi had no immediate response. The logic was airtight, even if the conclusion was horrifying. "The Hokage wants to see you," Kakashi said instead. "Something about the Akatsuki." "Finally," Naruto replied. "I was wondering when they would make their move." The Hokage's office felt smaller than it should. Hiruzen Sarutobi sat behind his desk, but also present were Jiraiya the Sannin, recently returned from his spy network activities, and several Anbu guards in the shadows. "Naruto," Hiruzen greeted. "Thank you for coming so quickly." "You summoned me regarding the Akatsuki. I assume they have acted against Konoha's interests." "Not directly," Jiraiya interjected, studying Naruto with open curiosity. "But we've received intelligence that they're targeting the tailed beasts, all 9 of them. They plan to capture each Jinchuriki and extract the beasts. For what purpose? Unknown, but their success would destabilize the entire shinobi world. The balance of power relies partially on the distribution of tailed beasts among the villages." Naruto considered this. "You summoned me because I am technically the 9 tails Jinchuriki." "Technically?" Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. "The seal remains intact. Kurama exists within me. But I do not draw on its chakra, do not rely on its power. The beast is simply present." This was true. Naruto had never once used Kurama's chakra in battle. His spiritual pressure, his Zanpakuto, his Kido. These were sufficient. The 9 tails was an observer in his own seal, watching a power system completely divorced from anything it understood. "The Akatsuki will come for you eventually," Jiraiya continued. "They're working through the list. The 1-tailed Jinchuriki, Gaara, is likely their first target since Sunagakure is weakened after the failed invasion." "Then I will go to Sunagakure," Naruto stated. "If the Akatsuki appear, I will eliminate them." "We can't just send one Genin." "I am not one Genin," Naruto interrupted. "I am the force that stopped your invasion single-handedly. I am the warrior who defeated Orochimaru in direct combat. I am Byakuya Kuchiki, and I will not tolerate criminals disrupting the order I maintain." He turned toward the door. "I leave immediately. Inform Sunagakure of my arrival so they do not attempt to resist my entry." "Wait," Hiruzen called. "At least take a team. Kakashi, Sakura, someone too." "No, they would interfere. They would require protection. They would slow me down." Naruto paused at the door. "I will return when the threat is eliminated. He used shunpo and vanished, leaving only cherry blossom petals drifting in his wake. Jiraiya whistled low. That kid is terrifying. Yes, Hiruzen agreed quietly, but he's our terrifying kid, for now. Sunagakure sprawled across the desert, a city of sand and stone baking under the merciless sun. Naruto arrived at midday, appearing atop the Kazekage's building via shunpo, bypassing all security completely. The Anbu equivalent, Suna's own special forces, surrounded him within seconds, weapons drawn. Identify yourself, one demanded. Naruto Uzumaki, Konoha Shinobi. I am here to speak with the Kazekage regarding the Akatsuki threat. The Kazekage doesn't. Gaara appeared on the rooftop, sand swirling around him defensively. The young Kazekage looked older than his years, exhausted by the responsibilities thrust upon him after Sunagakure's failed invasion had killed so many of their leadership. Stand down, Gaara ordered his guards. I know him. The guards retreated but remained alert. Gaara studied Naruto with those distinctive ringed eyes. You came alone? Yes. Why? Because the Akatsuki will target you, because I have decided you will not be captured, because your village is weakened and cannot defend against the threat adequately. You presume to protect Sunagakure? Gaara's voice held an edge. We are not so weak that we need Konohas. You are precisely that weak, Naruto interrupted. Your invasion failed. Your Kazekage died. Your military is depleted. Your defenses are inadequate. These are facts, not insults. Accept them so we can proceed efficiently. Gaara's sand tensed, Shukaku's chakra flickering at the perceived disrespect. I could kill you where you stand. You could attempt it, Naruto corrected. You would fail. We both know this. The forest of death demonstrated the gap between us. That gap has not closed. Accept my protection or don't. But the Akatsuki are coming regardless of your pride. For a long moment, they stared at each other. Two Jinchuriki, two wielders of immense power, two young men thrust into roles beyond their years. Gaara was first to look away. How long until they arrive? Unknown. Days at most. They are hunting tailed beasts systematically. You are likely next on their list. Then you'll stay here, in Suna? I will remain proximate. When they arrive, I will eliminate them. Just like that? Yes. Gaara almost smiled. You're either the most confident person I've ever met or the most delusional. Confidence requires justification. I am justified. Therefore, not delusional. This time Gaara did smile, though it looked unpracticed on his features. Stay then. Suna will provide accommodations, though I suspect you'll ignore them and do whatever you want anyway. Correct, Naruto agreed and used shunpo to relocate to the building's edge, where he settled into a meditation stance facing the desert. He would wait. He was exceptionally good at waiting. Patience was a virtue nobles cultivated over lifetimes. They came on the third day. Naruto sensed them long before they reached Sunagakure, two distinct spiritual presences approaching from the northeast, moving with purpose and confidence. Not shinobi chakra signatures, but close enough that his spiritual senses could track them across miles of desert. He stood from his meditation, drew his katana, and used shunpo to intercept them 10 miles outside the village. They appeared as he expected. Two figures in black cloaks decorated with red clouds. Akatsuki. The blonde one rode a clay bird, grinning down at Naruto with manic energy. The hunched one controlled a puppet body, his true form likely hidden elsewhere. Well, well, the blonde one said, his voice carrying that distinctive pitch of someone who enjoyed explosions far too much. Looks like Suna has a guard dog. And it's just a kid. This'll be easy, yeah. Deidara, the hunched one said, voice gravelly and ancient. Don't underestimate him. Intelligence suggests this is Naruto Uzumaki, the one who stopped the Konoha invasion. So what? He got lucky against some sound trash. We're Akatsuki. We're art incarnate, yeah. Naruto said nothing. He simply observed them, analyzed their positions, their readiness, their confidence. Amateur assassins, overconfident fools who'd achieved some success and mistaken it for mastery. You are Akatsuki, Naruto stated. You are hunting tailed beasts. You will not succeed. Deidara laughed, pulling clay from his pouches. Oh? And who's gonna stop us, you? Yes. Cute. Hey, Sasori, let's show this brat what real art looks like. Deidara threw his clay creation, small birds that flew toward Naruto at high speed. They pulsed with explosive chakra, designed to detonate on contact. Naruto raised one hand, index and middle fingers extended. Bakudo number 81, Danku. A translucent barrier materialized between Naruto and the incoming explosives. The clay bird struck it and detonated, massive explosions that would have obliterated a normal shinobi. The barrier didn't crack, didn't even shimmer. The explosions washed over it like water against stone, and when the smoke cleared, Naruto stood completely unharmed. What? Deidara's grin vanished. That's impossible. No defensive jutsu can completely nullify my art. Your art is explosions, Naruto observed. Crude force applied indiscriminately. A child's tantrum given form. My barrier is spiritual energy shaped by will and reinforced by centuries of technique refinement. We are not equivalent. You little. Sasori's puppet body launched forward, dozens of weapons emerging from hidden compartments. Poison-coated blades, senbon needles, wire strings designed to bind and kill. Naruto dropped his katana. It fell toward the sand, blade point first, and disappeared through the desert floor like the ground was water. The sand rippled. Scatter, Naruto said quietly. Senbonzakura. Cherry blossom petals erupted from the ground in a tsunami of pink death. They swept forward, intercepting every weapon Sasori launched, cutting the puppet's attack strings, shredding its wooden limbs. The puppet fell apart mid-charge, reduced to splinters and scrap metal. My Hiruko body? Sasori's voice came from the wreckage, and a figure emerged, the true Sasori, preserved as a puppet himself, the third Kazekage's body at his side. You destroyed my Hiruko body in one attack. Interesting. You are Sasori of the Red Sand, Naruto said, recalling intelligence reports. You murdered the third Kazekage. You turned him into a puppet. You defiled the dead for combat advantage. Art is eternal, Sasori replied. These puppets are my masterpieces. They are abominations, violations of natural law. The dead should rest, not dance for your amusement. Naruto gestured, and the petals condensed around Sasori's position, forming a sphere. Senkei. The sphere compressed inward, thousands of microscopic blades cutting from every angle simultaneously. Sasori barely escaped, using the third Kazekage puppet as a shield, its iron sand ability creating barriers. Deidara, Sasori called. Full assault. Deidara had recovered from his shock, his artistic pride wounded by Naruto's dismissal. He pulled out massive amounts of clay, shaped them into his C3 explosive, a massive doll designed for city-wide devastation. You want art? Deidara screamed. I'll show you art. He dropped the C3 doll. It fell toward Naruto, pulsing with enough explosive chakra to erase Sunagakure from the map. Naruto looked up at it, expression unchanged. Hado number 63, Raikoho. A massive wave of yellow lightning erupted from his palm, shooting upward, striking the C3 doll before it could detonate properly. The spiritual lightning consumed the explosive chakra, detonating it prematurely 10,000 feet in the air. The resulting explosion painted the sky orange, a false sunset blooming at midday. The shockwave rattled windows in Sunagakure miles away, but the city remained intact. Deidara stared in disbelief. You vaporized my C3? That's impossible. You repeat that word. It does not mean what you think it means. Naruto raised his reformed katana, pointed it at both Akatsuki members. You came to kidnap the Kazekage, to extract the One Tail, to disrupt the order I maintain. You will not succeed. We're Akatsuki, Deidara snarled. We don't fail. See for Karura. He created a massive clay clone of himself, filled with microscopic explosive cells designed to infiltrate an opponent's body and detonate from within. The clone approached Naruto. Ready to disperse its deadly payload, Naruto's spiritual pressure spiked. The air became heavy, crushing, oppressive. Deidara's clay clone stopped mid-advance, the explosive cells vibrating erratically under the pressure of spiritual energy they weren't designed to encounter. Your technique assumes a chakra-based opponent, Naruto explained. The microscopic explosives enter through chakra circulation. I do not possess chakra circulation. I possess spiritual pressure. Your C4 cannot affect me. The clone exploded prematurely, the microscopic cells detonating harmlessly in the air around Naruto, creating a beautiful but ineffective display of light. This is tedious, Naruto stated. You are skilled for criminals, but you are merely criminals. Allow me to demonstrate the gap. He dropped his katana again. This time, 2 rows of colossal blades erupted from the desert itself, each one the size of a building, stretching toward the sky. The desert trembled. Sand avalanched down dunes. Sunagakure's walls shook from the sheer force of their appearance. Deidara's clay bird faltered mid-flight. Sasori's puppet stopped moving. Both Akatsuki members stared upward at the impossible manifestations of power. What? What is this? Sasori whispered. My Bankai, Naruto replied. Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. The massive blade shattered into billions of cherry blossom petals. The desert became pink. The sky became pink. Every space, every gap, every possible escape route filled with microscopic cutting death. Sasori tried to defend with iron sand barriers. The petals cut through them like tissue. Deidara tried to fly away. The petals followed faster than his clay bird could move. This is art! Naruto's voice carried across the storm of petals. Not your explosions, not your puppets. This, the marriage of beauty and death, elegance and destruction, order and annihilation. This is true art. The petals converged on both Akatsuki members simultaneously. Sasori's puppet body was shredded in seconds. His core, the only remaining organic part of him, exposed and vulnerable. Deidara's clay bird disintegrated beneath him, and he fell toward the desert, the petals cutting shallow wounds across his entire body as he dropped. Both Akatsuki members crashed into the sand, bleeding, defeated, their legendary status irrelevant against overwhelming superiority. Naruto walked toward them, the ocean of petals parting around him like water around a stone. You will return to your organization, Naruto instructed, stopping before their prone forms. You will inform them that Gaara of the desert is under my protection. You will tell them that any further attempts to capture him will result in their complete annihilation. You're letting us go? Deidara gasped, clutching his wounds. I am delivering a message. Whether you survive to deliver it is your concern, not mine. He gestured, and the petals dispersed, returning to his sealed blade which reappeared in his hand. Leave, now, before I decide that mercy is inappropriate. Sasori struggled to his feet, dragging his broken puppet cores. Deidara created a small clay bird, barely large enough to carry him, and they fled, limping back toward wherever their organization based itself. Naruto watched them go, then used Shunpo to return to Sunagakure. Gaara stood on the Kazekage building's roof, staring at him. You defeated 2 Akatsuki members, Gaara said, alone, in less than 5 minutes. Yes, the same Akatsuki that intelligence suggests contains multiple S-rank missing nin. Yes, you're not even breathing hard. They were criminals. I am a soul reaper. The outcome was predetermined. Gaara shook his head slowly. Konoha doesn't know what they have in you, or maybe they do, and that's why they let you operate so independently. The Hokage understands that controlling me is impossible. He instead ensures our interests align. This is wisdom. And when your interests diverge, Naruto met Gaara's gaze directly. Then I leave. Konoha does not own me. No one does. I serve the village because doing so maintains order. The moment that changes, my loyalty ends. That's honest, Naruto supplied, which is more than most shinobi offer their villages. I do not lie about my allegiance. It is conditional, transactional, based on mutual benefit. This is proper. Gaara considered this for a long moment. You're strange, Naruto Uzumaki. I am a reincarnated soul reaper operating in a world governed by different natural laws. Strange is expected. Despite himself, Gaara laughed. A real laugh, something he rarely did. Will you stay in Suna? For now, the Akatsuki may send others. I will remain until the threat is neutralized permanently. Thank you. Naruto inclined his head slightly, acknowledging the gratitude, then returned to his meditation stance. The threat would come again. Criminals were predictable. They would regroup, reassess, attack differently, and he would be ready. He was always ready. 6 months passed. Naruto had returned to Konoha after the Akatsuki threat temporarily receded. The organization had gone quiet, licking its wounds, likely reorganizing after losing 2 of their members in such a humiliating fashion. He spent the time training Sasuke, who had progressed to the point where he could manifest lightning in branching patterns, not quite scattered Chidori, but approaching the concept. It was acceptable progress. Then the intelligence reports came. Itachi Uchiha and Kasame Hoshigaki had been spotted near Konoha's borders. Naruto found them 2 days later, standing on a lake's surface. Waiting, Kasame grinned, Samahata resting on his shoulder. Well, the kid who made Deidara and Sasori retreat. Been wanting to meet you. Itachi stood beside him, Sharingan already active, studying Naruto with those distinctive eyes that had seen too much. Naruto Uzumaki, Itachi said, his voice level, emotionless. You have grown strong. I was always strong, Naruto corrected, walking across the lake's surface using spiritual pressure rather than chakra control. You simply didn't know to observe me before. Cocky brat, Kasame laughed. Let's see if you can back it up. Samehada's hungry. He swung his massive sword, the living weapon's scales bristling as it sought to absorb Naruto's energy. Naruto drew his katana, blocked the strike with minimal effort. Samehada's scales tried to absorb his spiritual pressure and failed. The weapon recoiled, actually recoiled, scales flattening in what might have been confusion or fear. What the? Kasame stared at his sword. Samehada's never refused to feed before. Your blade consumes chakra, Naruto explained, pushing Kasame's strike aside effortlessly. I do not possess chakra. I possess spiritual energy. Your weapon cannot absorb what it does not recognize. He used Senka, Flash Blossom, appearing behind Kasame in a blur of movement too fast to track. His hand touched Kasame's back gently. Every chakra point in Kasame's body shut down simultaneously. The legendary swordsman fell face first into the lake, unconscious before he hit the water. Itachi's expression didn't change, but his Sharingan spun faster, analyzing, calculating. You move beyond the body flicker technique. That speed doesn't use chakra. Correct. Shunpo, flash step, a high-speed movement technique from another world's martial arts. Another world? Itachi repeated. You claim to be from another dimension? I claim to be the reincarnation of a soul reaper. Whether you believe this is irrelevant. Itachi's eyes shifted, Mangekyo Sharingan activating. Tsukuyomi. The genjutsu struck instantly. Itachi's signature technique, the illusory realm where he controlled all time and space, where 72 hours of torture could occur in a single second of real time. Naruto stood in the red-tinted world of Tsukuyomi, Itachi's presence manifesting before him. In this world, Itachi explained, I control everything. Your mind is mine. You will experience. Naruto's spiritual pressure spiked, and the Tsukuyomi world cracked, literally cracked, like glass under pressure. Fissures spread across the red sky, across the black ground, reality itself fragmenting under the weight of spiritual energy. The illusion wasn't designed to contain. You create an illusory world within my mind, Naruto observed calmly. Impressive technique. But I have walked among souls themselves. I have seen the Soul Society, the realm where spirits exist independent of physical form. Your illusion is a shadow of true spiritual dimensions. The Tsukuyomi world shattered completely, and both combatants returned to the real world. Less than a second had passed. Itachi stumbled backward, and blood dripped from his eyes, the cost of having his ultimate technique broken from within. Impossible, Itachi breathed. No one has ever broken Tsukuyomi. You repeat that word. Like the other Akatsuki members, it is becoming tiresome. Naruto raised his hand, pointed at Itachi. Hado number 33 Sokatsui. Blue spiritual fire erupted from his palm, massive and consuming, roaring toward Itachi with apocalyptic force. Itachi tried to substitute, to use body flicker, but the flames were too fast, too large, too absolute. They struck him directly. Itachi screamed, actually screamed, as spiritual fire burned his chakra network, scorched his Sharingan, ate at his very soul. He fell to his knees in the lake, steam rising from his body. You burned me, Itachi gasped, staring at his hands where spiritual flames had left marks. You burned my chakra directly. I burned your spiritual energy. Chakra is merely this world's variant. The principle remains constant. Naruto walked forward, stopping in front of Itachi's kneeling form. You are Itachi Uchiha. You massacred your clan on the Hokage's orders. You traumatized your younger brother. You joined a criminal organization. These are established facts. You know about the orders? Itachi looked up, genuine surprise in his dying eyes. I suspected. The pattern was obvious. The Uchiha planned a coup. The village leadership ordered their elimination to prevent civil war. You were chosen as the executioner because of your loyalty and skill. You spared Sasuke because familial bonds transcended duty. Itachi said nothing, but his silence was confirmation. Your methods were logical, Naruto continued. Brutal, but logical. The needs of Konoha outweighed the needs of one clan. However, your execution was flawed. You left Sasuke alive and traumatized, creating a revenge-driven warrior who would inevitably threaten the stability you sought to preserve. I wanted him to hate me, to become strong enough to kill me, to be the hero who avenged the clan. And instead, you created an unstable avenger who nearly defected to Orochimaru, who requires constant supervision, who will forever be defined by that night rather than his own achievements. Your plan was sentimental foolishness disguised as strategic thinking. Itachi coughed blood, his body failing from the spiritual burns. Are you going to kill me? No, you are already dying. Your disease progresses. I estimate 6 months at most. How do you? I can sense your spiritual energy deteriorating. Your body consumes itself. Death approaches regardless of my intervention. Naruto crouched, met Itachi's eyes directly. When you die, I will ensure Sasuke learns the truth. Not immediately, he requires more time to mature, to build identity beyond revenge. But eventually, he will know you sacrificed yourself for Konoha. He will understand the burden you carried. Why would you do that? Because Sasuke is my student. Because he deserves truth over comfortable lies. Because secrets fester and destroy order. Your village's leadership chose deception over honesty. I am correcting their mistake. Itachi stared at Naruto for a long moment, then smiled, a genuine smile that made him look years younger. You're strange, Naruto Uzumaki. So I am told. Frequently. Itachi struggled to his feet, collected the unconscious Kasame. I will return to the Akatsuki. I will inform them that Konoha is adequately defended. Inform them that any further incursions will result in complete annihilation. I tolerated this encounter because you pose no real threat. Future trespassers will not receive such mercy. Understood. Itachi used the last of his chakra to body flicker away, dragging Kasame with him. Naruto watched them go, then turned and used Shunpo to return to Konoha. The Akatsuki were learning, slowly, painfully, but they were learning. The invasion announcement came 2 years after Naruto had defeated the Akatsuki's initial attempts at tailed beast capture. Pain himself, leader of the Akatsuki, wielder of the Rinnegan, declared war on Konoha. Not subtle infiltration, not targeted assassination. Full military assault. The message arrived via summoned beast, delivered directly to the Hokage's office. Konoha has harbored the Nine Tails long enough. Surrender the Jinchuriki or face annihilation. You have 3 days to comply. Pain. Hiruzen read the message, then looked at Naruto, who stood by the window. They're coming for you. Good, Naruto replied. I was becoming bored. This isn't a joke, Naruto. Pain is said to possess the Rinnegan, the legendary eyes of the Sage of Six Paths. If the reports are accurate, he controls 6 bodies simultaneously, each with different abilities. This is beyond anything we've faced. Then he will provide adequate challenge. You're not invincible. No, Naruto agreed, turning from the window. But I am sufficient. I stopped an invasion. I defeated Orochimaru. I drove off multiple Akatsuki pairs. Pain will be no different. You're too confident. I am appropriately confident. There is a difference. Hiruzen stood, walked around his desk. At least let me deploy Anbu, Kakashi, someone to support you. They would interfere. They would require protection. They would die pointlessly attempting to fight enemies beyond their capabilities. So you'll face the entire Akatsuki alone? Yes. The old Hokage sighed, suddenly looking every one of his 70 years. You've changed, Naruto. Since that bell test 2 years ago, you've become colder, more isolated, more noble, Naruto supplied. I have become what I was meant to be, what I always was, merely refined and focused. And you're happy? Living like this? Alone, separate from everyone, defined entirely by duty and law? Naruto considered the question with genuine thought. Happiness is irrelevant. I have purpose. I have order. I maintain structure in a chaotic world. This is sufficient. That's sad, Naruto. Only from your perspective. From mine, emotional attachment breeds disorder. Bonds create vulnerabilities. Isolation ensures focus. Hiruzen shook his head slowly. I hope you're right. I hope when pain arrives, your isolation is truly strength rather than weakness. We shall see. 3 days later, pain arrived, not subtly, not with stealth or deception. 6 figures walked through Konoha's main gate at noon, killing the guards without hesitation, and began their march toward the village center. Alarms blared. Anbu mobilized, Jonin assembled, the entire village prepared for war, and Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument, watching the 6 bodies advance with measured steps. Civilians fleeing before them in panic. He drew his katana, the blade singing free. Then he dropped it. The blade fell toward the monument's stone, sank through it like water, and disappeared. The ground beneath Konoha rippled. 2 rows of colossal blades erupted from the earth, not in the training ground, not at the village's edge, but throughout the entire village. They emerged from streets, from buildings, from the very foundation of Konoha itself, stretching toward the sky like monuments to divine power. Civilians stared in awe and terror. Shinobi froze mid-movement. The 6 paths of pain stopped their advance, looking upward at the impossible. Bankai, Naruto said, his voice carrying across the entire village somehow, reaching every ear. Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. The colossal blades shattered, all of them. Simultaneously, they broke apart into billions of cherry blossom petals, and Konoha became pink, became solid with microscopic cutting death, became an ocean that swallowed everything. But the petals were controlled, precisely, perfectly controlled. They avoided civilians, avoided buildings, avoided everything except the 6 invaders walking through the streets. The Deva Path, Pain's primary body, stopped walking, looked up at Naruto's position on the monument. Naruto Uzumaki, Pain's voice carried, artificially amplified. Surrender peacefully, and the village will be spared. You dare threaten my village? Naruto replied, and for the first time in 2 years, genuine emotion colored his words. Controlled fury, absolute rage wrapped in aristocratic precision. You dare attack the order I maintain? You dare break the law I enforce? He used Shunpo, appeared in the street before the 6 paths, the ocean of petals swirling around him in a protective vortex. I am Naruto Uzumaki. I am Byakuya Kuchiki. I am the noble of Konoha, the wielder of Senbonzakura, the enforcer of law and order. And you. The petals condensed, formed into 6 separate spheres around each of Pain's bodies. You are simply criminals who will learn the price of threatening what I protect. The Asura Path fired missiles, lasers, explosive projectiles from mechanical arms. The petals intercepted everything, dissolved the attacks mid-flight. The Animal Path summoned giant creatures. Dog, bird, rhino, centipede, all massive, all designed for destruction. Hado number 63, Raikoho. Yellow lightning erupted from Naruto's palm, massive waves of spiritual electricity that consumed the summoned creatures, reduced them to dispersing chakra before they could attack. The Preta Path approached, hands extended to absorb Naruto's energy. It touched the petal storm. The path screamed as spiritual energy flooded its absorption abilities, overloading them, burning its chakra network from within. It fell backwards, smoking, incapacitated. Your absorption technique assumes chakra, Naruto explained. Spiritual energy operates on different principles. It consumes those who attempt to consume it. The human path lunged forward, trying to rip out Naruto's soul directly. Naruto's spiritual pressure spiked, and the path's hands stopped inches from contact, unable to advance against the overwhelming force. You presume to touch my soul? Naruto asked quietly. You, who are merely a corpse animated by stolen eyes. He gestured, and petals surrounded the human path, created a sphere. Senkai. The sphere compressed inward, thousands of microscopic blades cutting from every angle. The human path was shredded, reduced to component parts that fell to the street. The Naraka path attempted to summon the King of Hell, to judge and restore the fallen paths. Bakudo number 79, Kuyo Shibari. 9 black holes appeared around the Naraka path, spiritual energy binding it completely, preventing any movement, any technique, any resistance. Your Judgment King is powerless when the judge himself is bound. Only 2 paths remained standing, Deva and Animal. Pain's primary body stared at Naruto, Rinnegan eyes wide with genuine shock. What are you? These bodies should be able to counter any shinobi, but you. But I am not any shinobi, Naruto stated. I am beyond shinobi, beyond this world's power systems, beyond your comprehension. The Deva Path raised both hands. Shinra Tensei! The almighty push, Pain's signature technique, the ability to repel all attacks, to create an omnidirectional force that destroyed everything within range. It struck Naruto directly, and Naruto stood firm, spiritual pressure anchoring him against the repulsive force. The petals around him didn't scatter, they held position, defying the technique completely. Impressive force, Naruto observed. But force alone is insufficient against true power. He used Shunpo, appeared behind the Deva Path before it could react. You control these bodies remotely. You hide elsewhere, manipulating corpses like a coward. This is beneath a warrior. You know nothing of my pain. The Deva Path snarled, spinning to face Naruto. Nothing of what I've endured, what I've sacrificed to create peace. Peace through pain, order through fear, stability through violence. Naruto regarded the Deva path with cold indifference. You are a tyrant with delusions of godhood. You seek to become what I am, an enforcer of order, but you lack the discipline, the nobility, the law required. I am God! Pain screamed, and chakra surged around the Deva path's body. I have transcended mortality. I control life and death. I will bring peace to this world by making it understand pain. You are a child playing with power you don't understand, Naruto corrected. Allow me to demonstrate true divinity. The ocean of petals responded to his will, swirling faster, creating patterns too complex for human minds to follow. They formed into a massive sphere around the remaining two paths, a prison of cutting death that compressed inward slowly, inevitably. The animal path tried to summon defenses. The petals shredded them. The Deva path tried to repel them with Shinra Tensei. The petals flowed around the repulsive force, maintained their compression. This is Senbonzakura Kageyoshi at full release, Naruto explained, walking toward the sphere calmly. Hundreds of millions of blades moving in perfect synchronization, each one controlled by my will, each one capable of cutting through any defense this world possesses. He stopped before the sphere, placed one hand against its surface. You wanted to make the world understand pain. Very well. Understand mine. The sphere contracted violently, and the animal path disintegrated, reduced to nothing. Only the Deva path remained, bloody, beaten, held aloft by petals that cut shallow wounds continuously. Where is your true body? Naruto demanded. Where do you hide while puppets fight your battles? I am pain, the Deva path gasped. I am God of this world. Gods do not bleed. Gods do not fear. Gods do not hide behind corpses. Naruto's voice was ice. The Dugurum. You are simply a broken man with stolen power, attempting to force order through chaos. You are everything I despise. He gestured, and the petals pulled the Deva path down, forced it to kneel before him. Tell me where your real body hides, or I will systematically destroy every Akatsuki base, every hideout, every location you might possibly inhabit until I find you. Your organization will burn. Your followers will scatter. Your dream of forced peace will die. You can't, Pain whispered. You can't destroy peace itself. I can destroy false peace built on corpses and fear, easily. Watch. Naruto raised his hand toward the sky. Hado number 88. Hiryu Gekizoku Shinten Raiho. A massive dragon made of lightning materialized above Konoha, coiling through the air, its form so large it cast shadows across the entire village. It roared, actual sound emerging from spiritual energy, and dove toward the Deva path. The path tried to use Shinra Tensei. The lightning dragon consumed the repulsive force, devoured it, and struck Pain's body directly. The explosion lit up Konoha like a second sun. When the light faded, the Deva path lay in a crater, smoking, broken, barely functional. Naruto crouched beside it, spoke quietly. Your real body, location now. Outside, the village, Pain gasped at. Tower, to the northeast, in a tree. Thank you. Naruto stood, used Shunpo to travel across Konoha, across its walls, into the forest beyond. He found the tower easily, a makeshift structure hidden among ancient trees. Inside, two figures, the real Pain, emaciated and connected to the corpses via chakra rods, and Conan, his partner, standing guard. Conan launched paper shuriken, thousands of them, filling the air with cutting edges. Naruto walked through them, last spiritual pressure deflecting the paper effortlessly. You are Conan, Naruto said. Partner to Nagato, loyal to the end, admirable if misguided. Stay away from him. Conan formed paper wings, prepared to fight. Stand down. Nagato's real voice came from the machine, weak but commanding. You cannot defeat him, Conan. I cannot defeat him. This battle is lost. But Nagato, I said stand down. Conan reluctantly obeyed, though her paper wings remained ready. Naruto approached the machine holding Nagato's broken body. The man was rail-thin, barely alive, sustained entirely by the Renegade's power and mechanical support. Nagato, Naruto said, real name of Pain, survivor of Omega Kure's destruction, student of Jiraiya the Sannin, bearer of the Rinnegan. You've done your research, Nagato replied, his real voice so different from the artificial one his pads used. Young, tired, human. I research all threats. You sought to force peace through pain, to make the world understand suffering by inflicting it universally. You called this justice. It was the only way. Humanity will never know peace until it knows true pain, until it fears war more than it desires it. And who gave you the right to inflict that pain? Who appointed you arbiter of suffering? Who declared you worthy to judge humanity? I took that right. Nagato's voice rose despite his weakness. I seized it because no one else would. Because the cycle of hatred continues endlessly unless someone breaks it. Through hatred and violence, Naruto said quietly, you sought to end violence with greater violence, to break hatred with more hatred. The contradiction is obvious. Then what would you do? Nagato demanded. How would you create peace in this broken world? Through law, through order, through structure that rewards cooperation and punishes aggression, through building systems stronger than individuals, principles that transcend personal vendettas. That's naive. People won't follow laws unless they fear the consequences. Then make the consequences absolute, clear, consistent. Anyone who breaks the law faces judgment, not random, not emotional, but systematic. Build order that operates independent of individual will. You're describing tyranny. I am describing the Soul Society, Naruto corrected. A system that maintained order for thousands of years through clear hierarchy, established law, and absolute enforcement. It was not perfect, but it was stable, functional, peaceful except when chaos threatened structure. He crouched beside Nagato's broken form. You could have built that here. You possess power, followers, resources. Instead, you chose destruction over construction. You chose to tear down rather than build up. This was your failure. Nagato was silent for a long moment. You're right, he finally admitted, and something in his voice broke. I chose the easy path, the dramatic path, the path that felt righteous rather than the one that actually worked. I became what I hated. I became the source of pain rather than its solution. Yes, so what now? You kill me? Execute me for my crimes? Naruto considered this carefully. No, I offer you a choice, the same choice I've offered others. Return to Konoha, face proper judgment through legal means, accept whatever punishment the Hokage decrees, or use your Rinna rebirth technique. Revive all the Konoha shinobi your invasion killed. Sacrifice yourself to restore what you destroyed. Choose atonement over survival. That technique will kill me, Nagato said. Yes, but it will also prove you meant your words about breaking the cycle of hatred. Words are cheap. Sacrifice demonstrates sincerity. Nagato, you don't have to. I do, Nagato interrupted. He's right. I preached pain and judgment, but I never accepted my own. If I truly believe in my ideals, I must accept their cost. He formed hand seals slowly, painfully, his emaciated body struggling with even basic movement. Ghetto art of Rinni rebirth. Chakra surged from Nagato's body, massive amounts of it, flowing out toward Konoha. The technique activated, and in the village, the dead began to stir. Hearts restarted, wounds healed, consciousness returned. Every shinobi killed in the invasion lived again. Nagato's body withered further, life force draining to fuel the resurrection. Thank you, Naruto said quietly. You have chosen honor over survival. This is the mark of a warrior. Tell Naruto Uzumaki, Nagato gasped, life fading, that Jiraiya was right, that peace is possible, that someone will bring it. I just wasn't that someone. I will tell him, Naruto replied, though he was Naruto Uzumaki, and the message was unnecessary. Nagato died, a small smile on his face, having chosen redemption in his final moments. Konan collapsed beside him, sobbing. Naruto stood, walked to the tower's exit. Bury him properly, Naruto instructed without turning. He died with honor. He deserves that much. He used Shunpo and returned to Konoha, where the resurrected shinobi were waking, confused but alive, and the village celebrated survival against impossible odds. Hiruzen found him on the Hokage monument hours later. You did it, the old Hokage said. You stopped an invasion again, alone, again. The outcome was never in doubt. Nagato revived the fallen. Why would he do that? Because I gave him the choice between cowardice and honor. He chose honor. This is the difference between criminals and warriors, the ability to accept consequences. Hiruzen sat down beside Naruto, both of them looking over the village. The council wants to promote you. Skip Chunin entirely, make you Jonin. Some are even suggesting Anbu command. All meaningless titles, Naruto replied. I am what I am, regardless of administrative classifications. True, but titles grant authority, the ability to act without constant oversight, to make decisions without consulting superiors. I already do that. Yes, Hiruzen laughed, you do, but official authority would make it easier. would reduce the political complications every time you unilaterally decide to reshape the world. Naruto considered this. Very well, I accept the promotion to Jonin, but I will not join Anbu. Their secrecy conflicts with my principles. Order requires transparency. Law requires public accountability. Operating in shadows breeds the same corruption I oppose. Fair enough. Hiruzen stood, groaning slightly as his old knees protested. There's one more thing. The other villages are requesting a 5-Kage summit. They want to discuss you. Discuss me how? Discuss whether you're a threat to the shinobi world. Whether one person possessing your level of power destabilizes the balance between nations. Whether Konoha should be sanctioned for allowing you to operate so freely. Let them discuss, Naruto said dismissively. Their opinions are irrelevant. They might form an alliance against Konoha, force us to surrender you, or face combined assault. Then they will attack, and I will demonstrate why the balance of power is now irrelevant. The old system of 5 great nations controlling tailed beasts and military might is obsolete. I render it obsolete by existing. You'd fight all 5 villages? If necessary. Though I suspect they will not be so foolish. Raikage has seen my speed firsthand. Kazekage knows I protected Gaara. Mizukage has intelligence about my capabilities. Tsuchikage is old and wise enough to recognize suicide. Only the new Kage might be arrogant enough to challenge me, and they will learn quickly. Hiruzen sighed. You're probably right, but attend the summit anyway. Show them that Konoha's weapon is also a diplomat when needed. I am no one's weapon. Poor phrasing. Show them that Konoha's ally can be reasonable when approached with respect rather than threats. That I can do. 2 months later, Naruto stood in the 5-Kage Summit Chamber, a neutral location in the Land of Iron. All 5 Kages sat at their respective positions. Hiruzen Sarutobi for Konoha, and the 4th Raikage for Kumo, the new Kazekage for Suna, Mei Terumi the 5th Mizukage for Kiri, and Onoki the 3rd Tsuchikage for Iwa. Naruto stood in the center, the focus of everyone's attention. Naruto Uzumaki, Onoki began, his ancient voice carrying across the chamber. You have been brought before this summit to answer questions regarding your abilities, your allegiance, and your intentions. Ask your questions, Naruto replied. I will answer honestly. Are you human? Mei asked directly. I am the reincarnation of a soul reaper. I possess human form but operate on principles beyond normal humanity. Where did your powers come from? I demanded. Previous life. I was Byakuya Kuchiki, captain of the 6th Division in the Soul Society. Upon death, I reincarnated in this world with full memories and abilities intact. Can others learn your techniques? The Kazekage asked. No. Spiritual energy is fundamentally different from chakra. This world's inhabitants cannot access it without dying and becoming spirits themselves. So you're unique, Onoki concluded. A singular threat that cannot be countered, cannot be replicated, cannot be matched. Correct. And you expect us to simply accept that? To allow Konoha to possess such overwhelming advantage? I expect nothing, Naruto stated. I simply am. Whether you accept this is irrelevant. Whether you attempt to oppose this is your choice. But understand, opposition will fail. Conclusively, absolutely. Slammed his fist on the table. That's arrogance. No, that is fact. I stopped the Konoha invasion single-handedly. I defeated multiple Akatsuki pairs. I ended Pain's assault and forced his redemption. These are established achievements. Extrapolate from data rather than pride. You could destroy villages, Mei pointed out. Your Bankai, as you call it, could level entire populations. Yes, I could. I have not, because doing so would violate the order I maintain. Civilians are beneath my concern, neither threats to be eliminated nor obstacles to overcome. They exist. I protect them from chaos. They continue existing. This is proper. And if we ordered Konoha to surrender you? Onoki pressed. If we demanded your execution or permanent imprisonment? Naruto's eyes shifted to the Tsuchikage, and something in his gaze made the ancient warrior flinch. Then I would leave Konoha, and your villages would burn. Not immediately, not dramatically, but systematically, inevitably, absolutely. You would learn why Soul Reapers maintain order in the afterlife. Because we can destroy souls themselves, erase existence permanently, remove threats to cosmic balance. The silence that followed was absolute. You'd commit genocide over politics? Hiruzen asked quietly. I would enforce consequences for breaking established law. You declared me criminal without trial, without evidence, based purely on fear. This is injustice. Injustice merits punishment. The scale of punishment matches the scale of injustice. That's monstrous, Mei whispered. That is law, Naruto corrected. Absolute, unwavering, consistent. You are Kages. You understand that peace requires strength, that order requires enforcement. I am simply more honest about the requirements. Leaned back in his seat. You really would do it, wouldn't you? Kill thousands to maintain your principles. I would kill millions if necessary, but it is not necessary. You are intelligent leaders who understand cost-benefit analysis. Opposing me costs everything. Accepting my existence costs nothing except pride. Choose wisely. Onoki laughed, a bitter, defeated sound. We're not actually here to negotiate, are we? We're here to be told how the new world works. Essentially, yes. Then tell us, how does the world work with you in it? Naruto clasped his hands behind his back, the white scarf draped over his shoulders fluttering slightly. The 5 great nations maintain their autonomy, their military, their borders. Nothing changes on the surface, but certain actions become prohibited. No more tailed beast weaponization, no more Jinchuriki abuse, no more mass murder of civilians. Wars between shinobi are tolerable, warriors fighting warriors. Genocide is not. You're appointing yourself world police, the Kazekage observed. I am establishing basic law. You remain Kages, you retain authority over your territories, but cosmic law supersedes national law. This is not new. The Sage of Six Paths established similar principles millennia ago. I merely enforce them actively rather than through legend. And if we break these cosmic laws? Mei asked. Intervention, proportional to the violation. Minor transgressions earn warnings. Major violations earn destruction. Simple, clear, consistent. That's tyranny, stated. That is order, Naruto countered. The distinction is implementation. Tyrants impose arbitrary rules changed on whim. I enforce consistent principles applied universally. Even I am subject to these laws. I do not massacre civilians, do not abuse power for personal gain, do not violate cosmic balance. Hiruzen stood from his seat. The other Kages need time to discuss this privately. Understood. I will wait outside. Naruto used Shunpo to exit the chamber, leaving cherry blossom petals drifting in his wake. In the hallway, he found Sasuke waiting. You followed me to the summit, Naruto observed. I wanted to see how they'd react, whether they'd try to execute you. And? They're terrified, all of them, even the Raikage, who's supposedly fearless. Fear is wisdom when confronting superior force. Sasuke walked forward, stopped beside Naruto, both of them looking out a window at the snowy landscape. I've been thinking about what you said, about transcending tools, about becoming the technique itself. And? I understand now. The Sharingan is power, but it's not strength. Strength comes from within, from discipline, from refusing to rely on shortcuts. Good, you progress. Itachi is dying, Sasuke continued, voice carefully neutral. I can feel it somehow. The blood connection. He's not going to last much longer. Correct. 6 months at most, according to my estimates. When he dies, will you tell me the truth? The real reason he killed the clan? Naruto looked at Sasuke, studied him carefully. Yes, when you are ready. When your identity is strong enough to withstand the revelation. Not yet, but soon. Thank you. They stood in comfortable silence until the Kages summoned Naruto back inside. All 5 Kages looked resigned, defeated, but determined. We accept the terms, Onoki spoke for them all. Not because we agree, but because opposing them is suicide. You've made your point, Naruto Uzumaki. The world operates under your rules now. Not my rules. Cosmic law. The distinction is important. Does it matter? The result is the same. Yes, because cosmic law applies to everyone, including me. If I violate these principles, I become subject to the same judgment I impose on others. This is justice. Mei leaned forward. And who judges you if you transgress? I judge myself, and if I fail that judgment, I accept whatever consequences result. This is honor. You're either the most principled person I've ever met or the most delusional, I said. Principle and delusion are separated by results, Naruto replied. I maintain order. I prevent atrocities. I enforce basic law. These are positive results. Therefore, principled. Or you've just been lucky, I countered. Luck is probability modified by skill. I possess excessive skill. Therefore, luck is irrelevant. Despite the tension, several Kages almost smiled at that. One final question, Hiruzen said. What happens when you die? When this generation passes and you're gone? Does the cosmic law die with you? I will establish systems before my death, train successors if any prove worthy, build institutions that outlast individuals. The Soul Society endured for millennia through proper structure, not singular leaders. And if you can't find successors, then I will not die. Soul Reapers can exist for thousands of years. I have time to establish proper order before age becomes a concern. You're serious, May breathed. You actually plan to live for centuries, maintaining your watch over the world. If necessary, though I suspect this world will learn to govern itself properly before then. Humans are adaptive. Given clear consequences for chaos, they typically choose order. The summit concluded shortly after, all parties agreeing to the new reality, even if they disliked it. As Naruto and Sasuke returned to Konoha, Sasuke asked, "Do you really plan to live for centuries? Just watching, enforcing, maintaining order?" If required, though I hope it is not. Eternal vigil is tedious. That's the first time I've heard you admit something bothers you. I am not emotionless. I simply prioritize duty over comfort. But yes, the prospect of centuries spent enforcing basic law is unappealing. Ideally, humanity learns to govern itself, and I can transcend to whatever comes next. What does come next? For you? Naruto was silent for several steps. I do not know. Perhaps return to the Soul Society. Perhaps move beyond it to higher planes of existence. Perhaps simple cessation, my duty complete, my purpose fulfilled, nothing remaining to anchor me to existence. That's dark. That is honest. I am defined entirely by purpose. Remove purpose, and what remains? Sasuke had no answer. They walked the rest of the way in silence. The Fourth Shinobi World War began 3 years after the Five Kage Summit. Tobi, who revealed himself as Obito Uchiha, Kakashi's former teammate, declared war on the entire shinobi world. Not for tailed beasts specifically, though he wanted those too. For the concept of forced peace through the infinite Tsukuyomi, a genjutsu that would trap all humanity in perfect illusions. The allied shinobi forces formed, 80,000 warriors from all 5 great nations, unified against a common threat. Naruto stood before this army at the strategy meeting explaining his role. I will not participate in standard combat operations, Naruto stated plainly. Your military tactics are adequate for normal warfare. I will instead target high-value threats. Obito himself, the reanimated shinobi Kabuto summons, any force that threatens to break your lines catastrophically. You expect us to fight while you cherry-pick targets? A, who now led the allied forces, demanded. I expect you to do your jobs while I do mine. Your job is defeating standard enemies. My job is eliminating impossibilities. Arrogant. Accurate, Naruto corrected. I am beyond standard combat. Using me for rank-and-file warfare is resource misallocation. Deploy me strategically, not numerically. Gaara, who stood beside the Raikage as his deputy, spoke up. He's right. Naruto alone is worth 10,000 regular shinobi in specialized scenarios. Use him for what he's best at, overwhelming singular threats. A grumbled, but eventually agreed. The war began 3 days later. The Akatsuki, or what remained of it, supplemented by an army of Zetsu clones and reanimated shinobi, clashed with the allied forces across multiple battlefronts. Naruto watched from a distance, observed the chaos, waited for targets worthy of intervention. They appeared on the second day, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, all reanimated, all attacking the 3rd division. Naruto used Shunpo, appeared in the center of the battlefield. The 7 swordsmen, legendary warriors who terrorized the shinobi world for decades, turned to face him. One kid? Zabuza Momochi, reanimated and controlled, laughed. They sent one kid to stop us? I am sufficient, Naruto replied, drawing his katana. You don't even have a legendary blade, another swordsman mocked. What are you going to do? Look pretty while we... Naruto used pure sword technique, no shikai, no kido, no spiritual pressure, just the sword skills Byakuya Kuchiki had mastered over centuries, applied with perfect precision. He moved between the 7 swordsmen like water flowing through stones, his blade striking precisely, disarming some, severing chakra points in others, destroying their reanimated bodies with clinical efficiency. The entire engagement lasted 47 seconds. All 7 legendary swordsmen lay incapacitated, their weapons scattered, their bodies sealed by the allied forces who'd watched in awe. Your generation called these warriors legendary, Naruto stated, addressing the shocked shinobi. They are adequate for your standards, but I am not bound by your standards. He cleaned his blade with one smooth motion, sheathed it, and used Shunpo to exit the battlefield. The story spread instantly. One warrior defeated all 7 swordsmen in under a minute using pure sword skill. Morale skyrocketed. On the 4th day, Kabuto deployed the reanimated Kages, previous Hokage, Kazekage, Mizukage, Raikage, Tsuchikage. Legendary warriors at their peak power, now immortal through Edo Tensei. The allied forces panicked. How do you fight Kages? How do you stop the strongest shinobi in history? Naruto appeared before the reanimated Kages calmly. You were leaders of your nations. Naruto addressed them. You served with honor in life. In death, you are puppets dancing for a criminal. This is disgrace. The second Mizukage, who retained some consciousness despite the reanimation jutsu, laughed bitterly. And what will you do, boy? We're immortal. We regenerate. We cannot be killed. I do not need to kill you. I need to seal you. Fortunately, I know techniques specifically designed for restraining souls. He raised both hands, formed no seals, and spoke, Bakudo number 99, part 1, Kin. Spiritual fabric wrapped around all 5 Kages simultaneously, binding their arms, restricting movement. Part 2, Bankin. First seal, Shiryu, bound by metal bolts. Second seal, 100 linked bolts, spiritual energy piercing them all. Third seal, Bankin Taiho, massive metal block dropping them from above, crushing them immobile. All 5 Kages fell, completely bound, unable to move, unable to resist. You will remain sealed until the war ends, Naruto stated. After that, you will be properly released to the Pure Land where you belong. This is not punishment. This is mercy, freeing you from desecration. The allied forces watching could only stare as one person sealed 5 Kages in less than 30 seconds. On the 7th day, Madara Uchiha appeared, not reanimated, not controlled. The real Madara revived through sacrificial means at full power, ready to reshape the world. The allied forces threw everything at him. Thousands of shinobi, hundreds of techniques, coordinated assaults that would have destroyed any normal enemy. Madara danced through them like wind through grass. His Susanoo, the complete form, warrior spirit taller than mountains, crushed battalions with single strikes. His wood release created forests that impaled armies. His Sharingan cast genjutsu that paralyzed hundreds. The battlefield became a massacre. Until Naruto arrived. He appeared before Madara's Susanoo, tiny compared to the colossal chakra construct. Madara Uchiha, Naruto called out, legendary warrior who fought the first Hokage to a standstill. You seek to become God through the infinite Tsukuyomi. Madara looked down at the small figure, and something like excitement flickered in his expression. Finally! Someone who speaks my language. All these weaklings scurrying about like ants, I was beginning to think this war would be boring. You will find me adequately entertaining. Adequately? Madara laughed. Such confidence. Show me this adequate entertainment. His Susanoo's blade swung down, massive enough to split mountains. Naruto dropped his katana. It fell through the battlefield, sank into the earth, and disappeared. Scatter, Naruto said. Senbonzakura. Cherry blossom petals erupted around him, millions of them, swirling upward to meet Madara's descending strike. The petals caught the blade, stopped it completely, thousands of microscopic cuts appearing across the Susanoo's energy form. Madara's eyes widened. What is this? Zanpakuto, a weapon from another world. Each petal is a blade. Together, they cut through anything. The petals swept forward, surrounding the Susanoo completely, cutting through its chakra armor like tissue paper. Madara abandoned the Susanoo, using body flicker to escape, and faced Naruto directly. Interesting. You have power beyond normal shinobi, but can you match this? He formed hand seals, and massive meteors appeared in the sky, pulled from orbit by gravitational manipulation. The allied forces screamed in terror. Those meteors would destroy everything, kill thousands, obliterate the battlefield. Naruto raised one hand calmly. Hado number 88. Hiryu Gekizoku Shinten Raiho. A dragon of lightning, massive, coiling, beautiful, materialized above him. It roared, splitting the sky with sound, and launched upward. It struck the first meteor directly, and spiritual lightning consumed it, reduced it to atomic particles that dispersed harmlessly. The dragon continued upward, struck the second meteor, the third, obliterated all of them before they could threaten anyone. Madara stared. You destroyed my meteor technique. With one attack. What are you? I am Byakuya Kuchiki, 28th head of the Kuchiki clan, 6th division captain. I am nobility, and you. Naruto drew his reformed katana, dropped it again. The ground rippled. 2 rows of colossal blades erupted from the battlefield itself, each one larger than Madara's Susanoo had been, stretching into the clouds. Bankai, Naruto stated, Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. The blades shattered into billions of petals, and the sky turned pink. The battlefield became solid with cutting death, and Madara found himself surrounded by an ocean that made his techniques look like children's toys. This is beyond chakra, Madara breathed, Sharingan spinning wildly, analyzing, calculating, searching for counters. This is beyond anything in this world. Correct, I operate on principles you cannot access, cannot replicate, cannot match. You sought godhood through the infinite Tsukuyomi. You should have looked higher, toward those who already walk among souls. The petals condensed around Madara, forming a massive sphere. Senkei, annihilation scenery. Inside the sphere, 1,000 katana blades manifested, each one perfectly sharp, each one hovering in mid-air, creating a dome of absolute cutting death. Madara tried to defend, used every technique he possessed. Wood release, fire release, Susanoo ribs, replacement jutsu, everything. The blades cut through all of it. Within 10 seconds, Madara was bleeding from 1,000 wounds, his legendary regeneration struggling to keep pace. You are strong, Naruto acknowledged. Stronger than most. But strength alone is insufficient against perfect technique. He gestured, and the blades all struck simultaneously, targeting vital points, severing chakra pathways, destroying the foundation of Madara's power. Madara fell, dropping to his knees in shock. How? He gasped. How can one person be this strong? Because I am not limited by this world's power ceiling. I transcend it by existing. Naruto raised his hand, formed no seals. Hado number 90, Kurohitsugi. A black box materialized around Madara. Perfect darkness. Walls of pure spiritual energy that distorted space itself. Inside the black box, gravity intensified 10,000 times. The walls compressed inward, crushing everything within. When the Kurohitsugi dispersed, Madara lay broken. His immortal body actually damaged beyond immediate regeneration. You will be sealed, Naruto stated. Properly. Permanently. Your resurrection was an abomination. Your plans were chaos. Your existence threatens the order I maintain. This ends now. He used Kido sealing techniques, trapped Madara's soul in spiritual bindings that would hold until proper afterlife judgment could occur. The allied forces watching could only stare in absolute shock. One person had defeated Madara Uchiha, the legendary warrior who'd fought the god of shinobi. Defeated him in less than 5 minutes. Morale didn't just improve, it skyrocketed beyond measurement. But the war wasn't over, because Obito still lived, and he had one final plan. On the 10th day, Obito became the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. The transformation was apocalyptic. Chakra erupted from his body in waves that flattened mountains. His form shifted, became alien, became something beyond human comprehension. Truth-seeking balls formed around him. Black orbs that nullified all ninjutsu, erased matter itself on contact. His power dwarfed anything the shinobi world had ever witnessed. The allied forces retreated in terror. Nothing they possessed could damage this form. Normal attacks were erased. Chakra techniques were nullified. Even-tailed beasts were helpless. Naruto stood alone before the Ten Tails Obito, studying the transformation. You have become a god, Naruto observed. Or so you believe. The Ten Tails power flows through you. The truth-seeking balls protect you. You think yourself invincible. I am invincible. Obito's voice came distorted, layered, multiple tones speaking simultaneously. I have transcended mortality. I will create the infinite Tsukuyomi. I will. Naruto used Shunpo, appeared directly in front of Obito, bypassed the truth-seeking balls completely. His hand touched Obito's chest. You nullify chakra, Naruto stated. Your truth-seeking balls erase ninjutsu. But I do not use chakra. I do not use ninjutsu. I use spiritual energy. Your defenses are worthless. Spiritual pressure flooded into Obito, overwhelming the Ten Tails chakra, disrupting the connection between host and beast. Obito screamed, actually screamed, as foreign energy invaded his system. Impossible! You can't. Nothing should be able to. The word again. Learn different vocabulary. Naruto stepped back, drew his blade. You sought to trap the world in illusion, to force peace through false happiness. This is the ultimate cowardice, refusing to face reality, choosing comfortable lies over difficult truth. He raised his katana, held it before him. I will show you reality, unfiltered, uncompromising, absolute. All his spiritual pressure released at once. The battlefield itself seemed to warp under the weight of power that shouldn't exist in the physical world. Space distorted, gravity fluctuated, the very fabric of reality strained. Obito's truth-seeking balls dissolved, simply ceased to exist, unable to maintain form against spiritual pressure this overwhelming. What? What are you? Obito gasped, his god form weakening. I am order incarnate, Naruto replied. I am law made manifest. I am the enforcement of cosmic balance against those who would disrupt it. He dropped his katana one final time. The blade fell, sank into the earth, disappeared. Final release, Naruto stated. Senbonzakura Kageyoshi, complete manifestation. 2 rows of colossal blades erupted, not just from the ground, but from the sky itself, from every direction, from dimensions beyond normal space. Hundreds of them, each one impossibly massive, filling the entire visible world. They shattered into trillions of cherry blossom petals, and reality became pink. The sky, the ground, the air itself, everything became solid with microscopic cutting depth, moving at speeds that transcended physics. Obito tried to defend, tried to use the Ten Tails' power, tried to reality warp himself to safety. The petals cut through all of it. They found every gap in his defense, exploited every weakness, cut the connection between him and the Ten Tails with surgical precision. This is true godhood, Naruto's voice carried across the storm of petals. Not stolen power, not forced transformation. This, perfect mastery over one's own strength, absolute control, unwavering discipline. This is what divinity looks like. He gestured, and the petals condensed into one final form. Hakuteiken, white imperial sword. All the billions of petals collapsed into a single blade, pure white, impossibly sharp, emanating power that made the Ten Tails chakra look like a candle before the sun. Naruto held this blade, walked toward Obito calmly. You wanted to create a world without pain, without loss, without reality. But pain teaches, loss strengthens, reality defines us. You would have stripped humanity of everything that makes existence meaningful. He raised the white blade. I deny you this. I deny your false peace. I deny your cowardly illusion. I deny you entirely. The blade struck. One perfect cut that severed the connection between Obito and the Ten Tails completely. The beast separated from the host, and Obito fell from the sky, powerless human, broken. Naruto caught him with spiritual energy, lowered him gently to the battlefield. You are not dead, Naruto stated. Your crimes merit death, but I will not execute a fallen enemy. You will face judgment properly, through law, through order, through the system you sought to destroy. Obito looked up at him, tears streaming down his face. Why? Why stop me? I just wanted to create a world where Rin lived, where no one had to suffer, because suffering is part of existence. Removing it removes meaning. You would have turned humanity into livestock, dreaming of freedom while trapped in cages. That is not peace. That is slavery. The Ten Tails, now free of control, rampaged briefly before Naruto sealed it using techniques that shouldn't exist. Binding spells from the Soul Society that trapped spirits in unbreakable prisons, the war ended, not gradually. Not through prolonged combat, but absolutely, definitely, completely. The Allied forces stood in shocked silence, staring at one person who defeated a god-level threat in the time it took most shinobi to complete a simple jutsu. Naruto sealed his Zanpakuto, the white blade dispersing back into billions of petals, then condensing into his standard katana. He used Shunpo to appear before the Allied forces' leadership. The war is over, Naruto stated simply. The Akatsuki are eliminated. The Ten Tails is sealed. Obito will face trial. Resume normal operations. That's it? A asked, still processing what he'd witnessed. You just ended a world war in 10 days? The war was already won. I merely accelerated the inevitable conclusion. You're terrifying, May breathed. Absolutely. Completely terrifying. Yes, this is intentional. Fear maintains order where reason fails. He turned to leave, then paused. One final thing. I recommend disbanding the Allied forces structure after cleanup concludes. Maintaining this level of cooperation requires external threats. Without the Akatsuki, you will eventually turn on each other. Separate peacefully while goodwill remains. You think we can't maintain peace? Gaara asked. I think humans revert to tribal thinking without pressure forcing cooperation. The 5 villages will eventually conflict again. When that happens, remember the lesson of this war. Unity defeats any threat, but unity is temporary. Build systems that function despite disunity, and peace becomes sustainable. He used Shunpo and vanished, leaving the Allied forces to contemplate his words. 6 months after the war ended, Itachi Uchiha died. Not in battle, not dramatically, simply in his sleep, his disease finally claiming him, his body giving up after years of struggle. Naruto attended the private funeral, one of only 3 people present, himself, Sasuke, and Kakashi. After the burial, Naruto and Sasuke stood alone in the Uchiha compound, now empty, haunted by memories. It's time, Naruto said. Time you learn the truth. About the massacre, Sasuke said, not a question. Yes, Naruto explained everything. The coup plot, the third Hokage's orders, Itachi's impossible choice, the sacrifice he made to prevent civil war. Sasuke listened silently, emotions carefully controlled, Sharingan active but calm. When Naruto finished, Sasuke spoke quietly. He did it to protect the village, to protect me. Yes, he made himself a villain so I could be a hero. That was his intention. Flawed, sentimental, but sincere. Sasuke was silent for a long moment. I don't know if I can forgive him, Sasuke admitted. For the method, for the trauma, for forcing me to hate him when he was trying to save me. Forgiveness is your choice. Understanding is sufficient for now. What do I do? My entire life was built around revenge. Now that purpose is gone, what defines me? Naruto turned to face Sasuke directly. You define yourself. Not through revenge, not through bloodline, not through tragedy. You are Sasuke Uchiha, the last of a noble clan, bearer of powerful abilities, survivor of impossible circumstances. Build from there. Create rather than destroy. Protect rather than avenge. That sounds like something you would do, because it is what nobles do. We have power. We use it to maintain order rather than pursue personal vendetta. This is the path I offer. Walk it or choose differently, but understand the choice is yours. Sasuke considered this carefully. I'll rebuild the Uchiha, he finally decided. Not the clan of warriors who planned coups, the clan of protectors who served Konoha from its founding. That's what Itachi would have wanted. Then do so. I will support this endeavor. They stood in silence, 2 warriors who'd walked very different paths to reach the same point. Thank you, Sasuke said, for training me, for telling me the truth, for being honest when everyone else lied. You are welcome. You have become adequate. Adequate, Sasuke laughed. High praise from you. It is intended as such. 5 years after the war, Naruto was offered the position of Hokage. He declined. I am not a politician, Naruto stated when Hiruzen approached him with the proposal. I am a warrior. Leaders require diplomacy, compromise, flexibility. I possess none of these traits. You maintain order, Hiruzen countered. You enforce law. You protect the village. These are exactly what a Hokage does. A Hokage serves the village. I serve order itself. The distinction is critical. If Konoha's interests conflict with cosmic law, I would choose cosmic law. A Hokage cannot make that choice. Then what will you do? You can't just remain an independent agent forever. Why not? I operate effectively in this role. Changing it would reduce efficiency. Hiruzen sighed. The council wants structure. They want clear authority. They want to know who controls you. No one controls me. I cooperate with Konoha because our interests align. This is sufficient. For you, perhaps. But politically, politics are beneath my concern. I maintain order. Politicians manage consequences. These are separate functions. Eventually, they compromised. Naruto would accept the title of Guardian of Konoha, a position created specifically for him, separate from the normal hierarchy, answerable only to the Hokage in matters directly affect village security. It was largely symbolic, since Naruto was already performing those functions, but it satisfied the council's need for organizational structure. Kakashi became the 6th Hokage, a choice Naruto approved of. Kakashi understood both leadership and limitation. He knew when to act and when to delegate. On the day of Kakashi's inauguration, Naruto stood on the Hokage monument as he had so many times before, watching the ceremony from a distance. Hinata Hyuga approached quietly, having finally gathered courage after years of silent admiration. Naruto-kun, she said softly, congratulations on your new title. Thank you, Hinata. Though the title changes nothing functionally, still, it's an acknowledgement of everything you've done for the village. Yes, humans require symbols. I indulge this need. Hinata smiled slightly. She'd grown used to Naruto's blunt manner, found it refreshingly honest compared to typical shinobi doublespeak. Will you stay in Konoha? Now that the war is over? Now that peace is established? For now, my duty remains incomplete. Order requires maintenance, not just establishment. And later, after duty is complete? Unknown. Perhaps transcend to higher planes. Perhaps remain here if new threats emerge. The future is uncertain. That sounds lonely, Hinata observed quietly. Nobility is always lonely. This is accepted reality. It doesn't have to be, Hinata said, gathering courage. You could allow people close, could build connections beyond duty. Naruto looked at her, really looked at her for the first time, seeing not just the Hyuga heir, but a woman who'd shown consistent loyalty, quiet strength, unwavering dedication. You are suggesting companionship, Naruto stated. I am suggesting that even nobles need people who care about them beyond their power or their position. And you offer this? Despite my coldness, my distance, my obsession with law and order? I've admired you since the academy, Hinata admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Not because of your power, but because you were always yourself, never pretending, never hiding, never compromising your principles. Naruto was silent for a long moment, considering this carefully. I do not love as normal people do, he finally said. I cannot offer passion or romance or emotional connection in traditional forms. I offer only honesty, protection, consistency. That's enough, Hinata replied. That's more than most offer. Then I accept your companionship, on the understanding that duty comes first, that order supersedes personal bonds, that I remain what I am. I understand, and I accept. They stood together on the monument, watching Kakashi's inauguration ceremony conclude, and something that might have been contentment flickered in Naruto's chest. Foreign, unfamiliar, but not entirely unwelcome. 10 years passed. Naruto and Hinata married, a simple ceremony befitting a noble's preference for substance over spectacle. They had 2 children, Boruto and Himawari, both showing promise in both Hyuga techniques and spiritual pressure sensitivity that shouldn't be possible but was because genetics didn't always follow predictable patterns. Sasuke rebuilt the Uchiha clan, marrying Sakura, having a daughter named Sarada. The new Uchiha generation learned both their bloodline techniques and the principles of honor, service, and duty that Naruto had drilled into Sasuke over years of training. Konoha flourished, became the undisputed strongest village, not through military might, but through the understanding that attacking it meant facing the noble, a fate no sane leader would choose. The other villages made peace, genuine peace built on mutual benefit rather than forced coexistence. Trade flourished. Conflicts were settled through negotiation. The cycle of hatred Naruto spoke of began to genuinely break. It wasn't perfect. Criminals still existed. Threats still emerged. Chaos still attempted to disrupt order. But each time Naruto was there, standing between disorder and civilization, enforcing the law, maintaining the balance, being what he'd always been, a pillar of order, a force of nature wearing human face, a soul reaper reborn in a world that desperately needed what he offered. And then, 20 years after the war's end, the final threat emerged. Kaguya Otsutsuki. Not defeated, not dead, simply sealed, waiting, gathering power across dimensions. She manifested one night above Konoha, her form beautiful and terrible, the origin of all chakra, the mother of the sage of 6 paths, the progenitor of all shinobi power. Humanity has failed me, her voice resonated across dimensions. You war, you kill, you disrupt the order I established. I will reclaim my chakra, all of it. Every living being will return their energy to me. The allied shinobi force is mobilized again. Older now, more experienced, but no less determined. Naruto stood alone before Kaguya's manifestation, looking up at divinity made manifest. You are Kaguya Otsutsuki, Naruto stated. The origin of chakra in this world. You believe humans unworthy of the power you granted. They are unworthy. Kaguya's eyes blazed. Byakugan, Sharingan, and Rinnegan all merged into something beyond. They waste my gift. They destroy rather than create. They are human, Naruto interrupted. Imperfect, chaotic, frustrating, but improvable, teachable, capable of growth if given proper structure and sufficient time. You dare lecture me. I dare because I am not bound by your power system. I do not use chakra. I am not your creation. I am the reincarnation of a soul reaper, and I operate on principles you do not control. Kaguya's expression shifted to genuine curiosity. Soul reaper, I sense different energy in you. Foreign, alien, what are you? I am order from another world, transplanted here, now defending this reality against threats that would unmake it. You qualify as such a threat. You would fight me? The origin of all chakra? The mother of all shinobi? Yes, Kaguya laughed, and reality itself seemed to ripple with the sound. Then come, strange warrior. Show me this foreign power you claim transcends mine. She opened a portal to another dimension, the gravity dimension, where weight increased 1,000-fold, crushing normal humans instantly. Naruto followed through the portal, appeared in the altered reality, stood firm as gravity pulled at him with apocalyptic force. Impressive, Naruto acknowledged, spiritual pressure anchoring him against the gravitational pull, but insufficient. He drew his katana, dropped it. The blade fell impossibly slowly in the increased gravity, sank into the strange ground. Scatter. Senbonzakura. Cherry blossom petals erupted even in this altered dimension, moving with purpose that transcended normal physics. Kaguya shifted dimensions again. Ice dimension, where temperature dropped to absolute zero. The petals followed, unaffected by cold that would shatter normal matter. Lava dimension, molten rock flooding everything. The petals swam through lava like water, maintained their cutting potential. Acid dimension, caustic materials eating through anything. The petals were spiritual energy, not physical matter. Acid was irrelevant. You cannot escape Senbonzakura through dimension shifting, Naruto explained calmly. The petals exist partially outside normal space. They follow my will across dimensional boundaries. Kaguya's expression shifted from curiosity to genuine concern. What are you? I am Byakuya Kuchiki. I have told you this. Stop asking questions you've already received answers for. He raised his hand, spoke the final incantation. Hado number Ninti, Kurohitsugi. Black boxes manifested around Kaguya in every dimension simultaneously, trapping her across multiple realities, crushing her with gravity that distorted space-time itself. She screamed, actually screamed, as power beyond her understanding attacked her very existence. But she was ancient, powerful, divine. The Kurohitsugi cracked, shattered, and she emerged damaged but alive. You hurt me, she gasped, and something like fear flickered in her ancient eyes. You actually hurt the mother of chakra. Because I'm not bound by chakra's rules, your dominion ends where spiritual energy begins. He drew his reformed katana one final time. I will now end this battle conclusively. You have two choices. Leave this dimension permanently, never return, accept that your time has passed, or face complete annihilation. You cannot kill me! I am eternal. Nothing is eternal, not even gods, especially not gods who cling to relevance after their purpose is served. He dropped the blade, it fell through dimensions, disappeared. The dimensional walls themselves rippled. Final release, Naruto intoned, power building to impossible levels. Bankai, Senbonzakura Kageyoshi, true form. 2 rows of colossal blades erupted, not in one dimension, but in all dimensions simultaneously. Every reality Kaguya could access became filled with massive swords stretching to infinity. They shattered into trillions of petals, and reality itself became pink. Every dimension, every space, every possible location filled with microscopic cutting death. This is Bankai at full power, Naruto stated, his voice carrying across all dimensions. This is what Soul Reapers use to maintain balance across the afterlife itself. This is true cosmic enforcement. The petals condensed one final time. Hakuteiken, perfect release. All the trillions of petals across all dimensions collapsed into a single blade, pure white, emanating power that made Kaguya's chakra look like shadow before sun. Naruto held this blade, walked toward Kaguya through dimensional rifts that parted at his approach. You are the mother of chakra, Naruto acknowledged. But I am the guardian of order. These titles are not equivalent. One is origin, the other maintenance. Origin fades, maintenance endures. He raised the white blade. Leave now, or cease to exist. Kaguya stared at the impossible blade, analyzed it with all her ancient power, and understood, truly understood, that this was not a bluff. This warrior could erase her, permanently, completely. I will leave, she whispered, pride broken, divinity humbled. But know this, strange warrior, I will not forget. Someday when you are gone, when your watch ends, I will return. Then I will not allow my watch to end, Naruto replied simply. I will maintain it forever if necessary. This is the burden of power, the price of order, the cost of peace. Kaguya opened a dimensional rift, prepared to leave. She paused at the threshold, looked back. You are lonely, she observed. Bearing this burden alone, how long can you maintain such isolation? As long as required. Loneliness is temporary, chaos is eternal unless opposed. The choice is simple. Perhaps, Kaguya said quietly, or perhaps you've convinced yourself this is necessary because admitting otherwise would break you. She vanished through the rift before Naruto could respond. He stood alone in the empty dimension, white blades slowly dispersing back into billions of petals, then condensing into his sealed katana. The question lingered. How long could he maintain this? How many years, decades, centuries of vigilance? How long until the isolation genuinely broke something fundamental? He didn't know. But he would continue regardless, because this was his purpose, his duty, his nature. He used Shunpo to return to Konoha, where the allied forces waited anxiously. When he appeared, they cheered, relief and awe mixing as they realized the impossible threat had been neutralized. Naruto walked through the celebration in silence, accepting congratulations with polite nods until he reached the Hokage monument. There, Hinata waited. You did it, she said simply. Again. Yes? And Kaguya? Gone. Exiled to dimensions beyond reach. She will not return during my lifetime. And your lifetime is uncertain. Decades at minimum, possibly centuries if I choose to extend it through spiritual techniques. Hinata took his hand, a simple gesture that had become their wordless communication over 15 years of marriage. You don't have to carry this burden alone forever, she said softly. Boruto is growing strong. Sarada, Himawari, the next generation could learn, could share the watch. They are children. They won't always be. And when they're ready, you could finally rest, could finally stop being the guardian and simply be Naruto Uzumaki, father, husband, person. Naruto was silent, considering this. Perhaps, he finally said, perhaps when they are ready, I can teach them proper maintenance of order, can establish structures that function beyond my direct involvement. And then I transcend, return to the Soul Society or move beyond it, resume the existence I was meant for before circumstance placed me here. Will you be happy? There? Happiness is irrelevant, he started, then stopped. Because over 15 years with Hinata, he'd learned something unexpected. Happiness wasn't entirely irrelevant. Connection mattered, family mattered, not above duty perhaps, but alongside it. I don't know, he admitted honestly. I am what I am, but perhaps I have become something more here, something the original Byakuya never was. More human? Hinata suggested gently. Perhaps, or perhaps simply more complete. The Soul Reaper learned from the shinobi world. The noble learned from ordinary people. This synthesis may be an improvement over either original state. They stood together on the monument as the sun set, watching Konoha transition from day to night, watching the village that had grown under their protection. Boruto and Himawari were playing in the streets below, their laughter carrying on the evening air. Sasuke and Sakura walked past with Sarada, the new Uchiha family radiating quiet happiness. Kakashi sat in his office finishing paperwork. Silver hair now showing gray but still sharp, still capable. The next generation prepared to inherit a world their predecessors had made safe. And Naruto realized, perhaps for the first time truly realized, that his watch wouldn't need to be eternal. Because order, once properly established, maintains itself. Because law, once properly structured, transcends individual enforcement. Because peace, once properly built, can actually endure. His purpose wasn't to guard forever. It was to guard until guarding became unnecessary. And that moment was approaching. Slowly, gradually, but inevitably. Thank you, Naruto said to Hinata, and the words carried weight beyond their simple form. For what? For reminding me that purpose can have endpoints, that duty can be fulfilled rather than eternal, that even nobles can finish their work and move beyond it. You're welcome, Hinata replied, squeezing his hand gently. Though I think you always knew this, you just needed permission to acknowledge it. Perhaps. They watched the sun complete its descent, darkness falling, stars emerging overhead, and for the first time in 20 years, Naruto felt something approaching peace. Not the enforced order he maintained, but genuine inner calm. His watch would continue, but it would end. And after the ending, something new would begin. What that something was, he didn't know, but he had time to discover it, all the time necessary, because he was Naruto Uzumaki, he was Byakuya Kuchiki. He was the noble of Konoha, the guardian of order, the wielder of Senbonzakura, and he had completed his purpose, not by guarding forever, but by building a world that could guard itself. This was success. True, final, absolute success. He smiled, a genuine smile, rare and precious. "Let's go home," he said to Hinata. "Home sounds good." They used shunpo, both of them now, because over 15 years Hinata had learned spiritual energy sensitivity, had developed her own connection to powers beyond chakra, and vanished from the monument. Behind them, cherry blossom petals drifted on the evening breeze, pink and beautiful and gentle, no longer weapons, just flowers, because order had been established, because law was maintained, because peace had been achieved. And the noble's watch, though not ended, had succeeded so completely that ending was finally possible. The story of Naruto Uzumaki, Byakuya Kuchiki Reborn, had reached its conclusion, not with apocalyptic final battle, not with dramatic sacrifice, but with quiet recognition that duty fulfilled is duty complete, and completion is the ultimate victory. The cherry blossoms fell, the sun set, the noble rested, and order, having been established, maintained its forever. End.
If you enjoyed watching Naruto violate the entire Naruto verse with zero effort and pure disrespect, drop a like, subscribe for the next one, comment who you want to see get the Senbonzakura treatment next. I'll see you legends in the next one.